I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're gonna hurt some people.
Whose car are we gonna take?
I have a lot of things I want to get off my chest.
That's an absolutely horse crap call.
Make room for Daddy. But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Chicago is.
This is Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Middays Matt live and rolling here on the 1620 The Zone Radio Network. Matt McMaster, as always, joined by Josh Odson here on the 58th and Dodge Studios, 1620 AM in Omaha, it's 97.7 The Zone in central Nebraska. It was a frog strangler this morning.
A frog? I have not heard that term. I get what it means, but
it was a big one. A lot of rain came down. We're good now, so don't worry about it. At least here in Omaha, I don't necessarily know the weather in central Nebraska. I'm sorry.
He's learning.
Sorry, guys. I apologize. Hopefully, you got a little bit of rain. You know, you needed it, right? You just need a little bit of rain.
Oh, yeah, we needed this rain.
Yeah, you needed it. Just
like
get
the ninth day in a row it's rained. We've needed it.
You needed it. We just need it. We need this rain. So anyway, it's cleared up now. It was tough driving to work today, especially in that right lane going west on Dodge. I mean, where all the drainage is and everything's being funneled to that. It was tough. It was tough indeed, but we are here. It is now pretty sunny. When I looked at the weather this morning, it was supposed to be in the 72 to rising up to the 80s by the time we are done with today's show. So it should be a nice one. Maybe go out and get a walk in if you're able to do so, as today begins a very fun week of shows. It is football week, Bay. Week 0 begins on Thursday. Our first college football games of the year take place this Thursday. Now, it's in the eye of the beholder what is the first game of the season, because there are 2 games that are going to kick off at 5 o'clock. I'm going to bestow the honor of the very first college football game this year with Stony Brook and Delaware State. Congratulations to those 2 teams.
Wow, congrats.
Those will be the first teams that we watch this season, followed up by I don't want to call it ugly or disgusting, but like no P5 teams are playing on Thursday. Okay, but it's football. Football is back. It's going to be okay. What are you laughing at?
I was looking at the schedule on ESPN.com.
It's bad.
And it says Saturday. Like, it doesn't even.
Oh, no.
It doesn't even say what's on Thursday.
So here's the funny thing. I went to ESPN to look for the same thing. They didn't have it. So then I went to the trusty CBS Sports app, my favorite sports app.
You guys who use that app really love it.
I get everything I want. I know that it's going to be 85 degrees and a little bit rainy at Delaware when Delaware State takes on Stony Brook.
I didn't know Delaware got that hot.
Neither did I. By the way, that's got to be brutal. 85, but it's raining and you're getting
hot rain.
Yeah, that's gotta suck. Yeah. So anyway, I know that Delaware State is favored by 6.5 points to win that game. I know that at 5 o'clock when Mercyhurst goes to Youngstown University, they're going to be 27.5 point underdogs, and it's going to be 80 degrees and raining also in Youngstown.
Deshaun Jackson's going to coach them up. They're going to be ready to go. And just watch out for the Delaware State Hornets this season.
All right. Are they on your buy, sell, hold, or bet? Are you?
I'm buying.
You're buying.
Now
you are buying.
It's a low payout because of the level of football they play. But again, Deshaun Jackson and them boys going to be ready.
They're going to get it
for, I'm told, a Thursday kickoff.
By the way, if you want to do some scouting for Nebraska football, LIU goes to North Dakota to take on North Dakota at 7 o'clock on ESPN+. So you can scout North Dakota before they go ahead and play Nebraska here in a couple of weeks. How about that? They are part of the, do you remember our FCS versus Power 4 upsets extinct article from August 10th from Cody Nagel? He named North Dakota potentially beating Nebraska as one of those FCS to upset AP4. So maybe you want to scout. You're getting to your reading. You're getting to your Cody Nagel reading. You haven't gotten there yet.
A little behind.
PC goes, it's Thursday for football kickoff, LOL, but appreciate it. Look, listen. All right. It's football. All right. It's football. And I don't know what's going to happen. All of the football that I've watched has either not counted or I know what the result of the game is going to be. It is going to be very refreshing to watch football that counts, that I don't already know what the score of the game is going to be. I'm going to be fired up for it. And then we'll be super fired up for Saturday as USC plays, as TCU takes on North Carolina. It should be an absolute blast. So we are doubling down this week. Buy, sell, hold, or bet every single day. We're going to try or do our best to get some interviews. We were unfortunate. We struck out trying to get people to talk about Oregon. Don't worry about it. It happens. We'll have an interview tomorrow. Listen, today is Brett Ciancia Day on Buy, Sell, Hold, or Bet, because Brett emailed to if you're a Pick 6 Plus preview subscriber, like I am, very proudly, he sends you his best over-unders of the season. These are the bets that Brett is making, okay? Last year, I believe he went 6-1, something of the like. He's been very good the last couple of years at doing it. Josh, I am proud to say that one of our bets is also one of Brett Ciancia's bets, okay? In fact,
Bet with Brett. Sorry, Mike.
In fact, the only under we said to bet is the only under Brett Ciancia is telling us to bet. Kansas under 5.5.
Again, sorry, Mike.
It's tough. Sorry. Our bad. But still.
He's a Jayhawk fan who can't bet.
We apologize. It's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad in Lawrence. So we think so. So does Brett. Should be interesting. We'll talk about TCU today, and we'll talk about Oregon. TCU is one of Brett's favorite over-unders this year, so we'll break down the Horned Frogs. Hey, it was a frog strangler. Today we're talking about the Horned Frogs and their football team, and how might they look. They did lose their starting quarterback to Indiana. How have they recovered? We will talk about that, and we are going to talk about Brett Ciancia's pick to win the national championship, the Oregon Ducks. Dante Moore is back. Okay. Evan Stewart is back. Corey Parrish is in. Will Stein, Tosh Lapoy, gone. How will they recover from it? We will talk about that today on Middays with Matt. Also, man, we had a fiery article from Mr. Tom Chattel. Oh boy.
Whoa, okay.
It was a good one. Troy Dannen talked about Dannen talked about NIL, talked about how much Nebraska's spending on football, talked about the accuracies and inaccuracies of numbers that might be out there. He also just kind of laid down the gauntlet and said, brothers and sisters, this is what I got to do. Okay. All right. I am not going to apologize for having to do my job. And we are trying our best to wade through these waters that is college sports, and, revenue generation is the game. At the same time, it is also very hard to keep you happy while also making sure that we have enough money to put the product that you want on the field, which also makes you happy. And so, essentially he said in so many words, it's hard to have your cake and eat it too right now in this era of college football where the rises, the costs can't stay the same. And yet, the cost for fans and the cost for season tickets and all that stuff, like all that stuff can't stay the same without Nebraska still being competitive in college sports. Like the cost needs to go up. Nebraska needs more money in order to pay players more money to get the best talent on the field, on the court, wherever it might be. And so he really broke it down with Tom, and he really said some tough things, some honest things, and said it in a tone. And granted, right, it's writing, right? We didn't hear him say these, so it's hard to predict tone, but you can see how what he says to Tom, and the order of the words and the order of the thoughts, and really understand, okay, hey, he's trying to get something. He's trying to make this message very clear. And it also seems like he's slightly frustrated with how reactions have been towards some of the changes that they've had to make in terms of trying to increase revenue generation for Nebraska athletics, because it's the name of the game. You need more money because costs have never been higher to run an athletic department, because you have to pay these guys and gals a lot of money in order for them to go out there and perform, in order to make sure that the best athletes are wearing your jersey. So Troy had it was a great article by Tom, and we'll talk about some of the things that Troy said. Rule also went to the podium. on Saturday. Said probably some of the more interesting things that he said at a presser, which the bar to clear was very low. Okay. he didn't have a very high bar to clear in terms of the interesting things that he's said so far in this fall camp. He still did have plenty of very quick and unassuming answers. And at one point, someone asked him, like, who's really emerging as a leader? And he was like, they're all great. They're all great. They're all doing great. Didn't really want to answer that question. Did say something interesting, though, about the captains thing. Last year, he had never really done captains before. He did team captains, and then you'd have season captains, because then you get the full breadth of like what everybody did, and then they would name them at the end of the year. And then last year, he said that group, they wanted to have long season captains, and then kind of went ahead and mentioned, I hope they make the right decision and they're not worried about hurting people's feelings when it comes to voting for captains, which he doesn't talk about anybody specifically, but it was a very interesting choice of words considering whom was there on the team and all that stuff. But that's not the point. The point is Gunnar Gatula is a stud, and he's having, I think that's been honestly the story of the fall camp so far. Like, I was talking to Josh Peterson. We were texting with each other about certain things in terms of how players might be playing and how camp might be going. And I told Josh, I was like, like from a training camp perspective, and this is probably more so accurate with the NFL. Like, I remember before Patrick Mahomes won MVP in 2019, that everybody was flipping out that he was throwing so many interceptions. He was throwing, he was just careless with the ball. And I remember those reports like tanked his fantasy football stock. I actually probably have a notebook somewhere like back at home that has my notes on Patrick Mahomes, that training camp. And he was careless with the ball, and people were selling stock. They're like, oh, it seems like this is all too much for this young kid to take over. Maybe he needed to sit a little bit longer. Then all of a sudden he goes out and wins the MVP. I remember back in 2021 for Nebraska football, all I heard was how great the D-line looked, how great the defense looked, how everything was moving in a really good, 2022. Remember hearing about how, Frost last season, man, they're hell on wheels, man, they're looking great, man, this D-line is going to get to the backfield a ton. And then that defense ended up stinking, right? But I do very much buy into individual performances and individual players rising up depth charts and maybe proving some things that maybe their coaches didn't foresee them proving. And, for Rule, it's probably the biggest nugget so far that Rule has said in terms of, hey, look, like, the whole conversation about Gunnar and Tree and, their competition and, Tree's working his way back. But regardless, like, Gunnar's one of our best 5 guys. He's going to be out there. It does make me ask, right? When you say something like that, hey, regardless of what happens with that comp and, who's playing right tackle, Gunnar's one of our best 5 guys across all the positions. Who is like the other guy like he already could take over for? Like who is the other player? Like, is it a guard? Because they've said that he's played all those positions. He even mentioned that he was playing a lot of center. I don't think he's going to take over for center because, Justin Evans is a second team all preseason caliber, second team all American preseason pick for the center spot. But it's just very interesting to me that just Rules just like, yeah, Gunnar's going to play. We don't necessarily know where he's going to play, but he's going to play. Probably going to end up being, if I had to bet, probably going to end up being right tackle. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. And look, injuries happen throughout the year. They happened last year on the offensive line. Like, it's one of those things where, okay, yeah, if Babalade ends up losing out to Gunnar Gatula, I ain't going to write the guy off because there is a chance that we're going to see Tree Babalade in some way, shape, or form throughout the season because that's just how football works. Guys get banged up. But it has been very interesting to see the rise of Gunnar Gatula after having, battled through injury, came on, was really young, had to step up in a role, was expected a lot of, had his struggles, definitely had, like I said, he got banged up, but to come back into the offseason, to put his head down, to not waver, like they brought in guys to replace him. They brought in dudes to take his job, okay? They brought in Babalade, they brought in Mubanga, they brought in Brendan Black, they brought in all these different guys with the expectation that our 5 is going to be that 5 plus Evans and Pritchett. That he faced that problem in the face. And he didn't whine about it. He didn't complain about it. He didn't moan about it. He didn't bitch about it. He went ahead and he put his nose to the grindstone and worked. And now you have he's the only player really that Rule has outwardly been out like being like, he's awesome. He's great. He's phenomenal. In a very quiet offseason, a very quiet fall camp where Matt Rule's words have definitely been minced. I think it does say something that Gatula is the one he's willing to put some words behind and say, look, whatever, Tree's working back from an injury. We hope he's okay. Regardless, though, Gunner's one of our best 5 guys. I think that says a lot. We go to the chat. Jimmy goes, just noticed Matt is dressed for February 1st. It was raining when I walked out today. I was going to walk out in short sleeves. Are you crazy?
I am also wearing sleeves.
See, I don't have rain gear. And I also don't have gear that like rain gear that isn't super like insulated. Like my rain gear is like warmth gear as well.
I regret the sleeves.
You do?
When I put this on, it was for the rain, and I said, well, I'll bring another shirt. So that because I knew it wasn't going to be the wet, rainy weather all day.
Good point.
And then I forgot it.
Oh, I was supposed to give Josh Peterson back his lunchbox today.
You have Josh Peterson's lunchbox.
Josh has
several questions.
Okay.
Why does Josh Peterson have a lunchbox? He's an adult.
Okay. He has multiple lunchboxes. Okay. He brings lunchboxes often to work because his wife makes him lunch, which is very nice.
But he has a job where he can eat lunch and then come to work.
That is true. He doesn't bring it every day, but he does have lunch boxes, and there are times where there are meetings at 11 a.m. and it requires him to be very long. So he brings his lunchbox for that. Secondly,
we do famously have meetings at 11.
I also was gifted lasagna soup, which was great. Rissa's ricotta was phenomenal, but I would like to mention it was a little less soupy than what I thought it was going to be. Regardless, it was gifted to me by Josh Peterson in a lunchbox, in a nice lunchbox, a lunchbox that also had those nice little ice gel packets. And I think he's more concerned about the gel packets coming back for his freezer than he is the actual
You need
lunchbox.
a good rotation of those packs.
I have I have 8 of them in my freezer. Because when I go to the zoo and I want to pack my cooler with my beer and my Subway sandwiches, when I go to the zoo, you have to have those ice packs to make sure they're all good to go. Yes, I bring beer into the zoo. Yes, you're allowed to do that.
We've been over that, yeah.
It's a good time.
I'm just remarking at the news I'm reading in front of my face.
Is it breaking news or is it odd news or is it sport news?
It is breaking as of 30 minutes ago.
Okay, go ahead. Let's play it.
This news out of the National Football League. San Francisco 49ers owner Jed York pled no contest to criminal charges after being arrested on suspicion of engaging in prostitution in Ohio over the weekend. Yikes.
I did not know that was going on at all.
Nope, didn't have a clue, but I got a mugshot.
I had no idea. This is terrible. What's it? Dude, there's way too much owner stuff going on in sports right now. Yeah. I'm hearing whatever happened to the New York Giants owner. You remember that? He was involved in he was allegedly potentially involved in a certain list.
Oh, yeah.
That a lot of that just kind of, I think it's swept under the rug, but it was kind of like, yeah, that might happen.
I don't want to get too political.
Neither do I.
A lot of things on that list, just no one followed up on.
No. It seemed like we all really wanted the list out there, and then
we did it. We got the list out there, everyone.
And then we didn't want the list out there for a bit, and then the list still kind of came out, but not in full form. But then we did make a database to find a lot of the things on that list.
I love that searchable database.
Do you still frequent it? Because I felt like that was your bit for a while.
It was. Let's see if Jed York's in
there. Yeah, go ahead, look that up, and then look up Steve Tisch while you're at it. That's the New York.
I feel
Giants
like if Jed York was in it, we would know.
I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are in there. This is big for Jed York.
Sorry, my fat fingers did a type, but there's wow.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, he's in here 11 times.
Rough. How about Steve Tisch? STEV Stevettisch. Steve Tisch.
440 times.
That's the New York Giants co-owner. So never got a follow-up on this, by the way.
Yikes.
Never really found that out. How about Anne Hathaway?
God, I hope not.
I hope not either.
It's loading. It's loading. 26 times.
No.
Yeah.
No. Dang it.
I'll read from
No.
the files.
Not Annie.
She just got the role of Catwoman in The Dark Knight Rises, third Batman film directed by Chris Nolan and co-starring Christian Bale. Will win Best Supporting Actor for The Fighter, and Anne Hathaway hosts the Oscars.
So that's just all. That's what she's got in there.
Yeah, it's a lot of people talking about her.
Okay, but okay. How about Cuba Gooding Jr.?
I am going to the 10 p.m. second show of Anne Hathaway singing at Joe Papp Public Cabaret Thursday.
Anne Hathaway was great in Les Mis. Okay, as Fontaine.
She won an Oscar for that.
She won an Oscar for that?
Yeah,
I did not know that.
Cuba
Gooding Jr.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times.
Okay,
6 times. I'm sorry, I can't count today.
Okay, last one. I'll let you pick. Go ahead and pick a name that you think just did not show up in the Epstein file.
Did not show up. Deion Sanders.
Okay, that is a good one.
No results found.
Great job from Josh Hodson.
Safe.
I would have gone Bo Jackson. Is where I would have gone. I was
Okay.
also in the sport route. I also think Nick Cage just wouldn't get caught up in that, you know?
I mean,
Or Keanu.
good one.
Keanu definitely not in there. Definitely not.
Dan texts in, if I were Jed York, I'd blame it on the power station.
Yeah, I feel like we've gotten no updates for that. By the way, Deshaun Stribling seems like he's going to end up being the number 1 wide receiver for the San Francisco 49ers to begin the season.
Who?
Deshaun Stribling?
Hand up.
Yeah.
Fully admit, like, you guys can make fun of me if I'm supposed to know who that is. I don't know who that is.
Josh.
Yeah?
You're not supposed to.
Okay.
You're not supposed to know.
Phew.
It's totally okay.
Okay.
Pretty sure he's a rookie.
Pretty worried there.
He played his college, if I'm not mistaken, at Ole Miss. And I recently didn't
that's a
fully
fine institution.
really know. Is it a fine institution? Is that your opinion on it?
I've heard some things about the culture there, but as far as a learning institution,
Where have you found who taught you about some of the culture things from there?
Some people in the biz. I don't want to reveal my sources.
Deshaun Stribling played for Washington State, Oklahoma State, and Mississippi. He finished his career in Mississippi, but he was a mid-round draft pick this season. Once again, I didn't fully really know whom he was until he got drafted this year. I wasn't watching a ton of Ole Miss football outside of the playoff when they were absolutely incredible. And they were
Different coach then.
Very different coach. Pete Golding, the coach. By the way, have we announced yet that Game Day is officially going to be there at week 3? Right?
They have announced
they announced that. By the way, so I saw a tweet of a guy being like, College Game Day announces that they'll be at Ole Miss, during week 3, something we reported in May. Brother, a squirrel could have reported in May that week 3 was going to be Ole Miss versus LSU in Oxford. Okay. We all knew that was going to happen. It wasn't you going and having scoops or sources. You just made the obvious guess that everybody else knew.
So there are some obvious. Oh, they have announced where. Okay, back in May they announced where they are for week 1 and week 2. So
Where are they for week 1 and week 2?
Week 1 they're live from Baton Rouge.
Okay.
Clemson, LSU. Week 2 they're live in Austin for the Buckeyes and the Longhorns.
Yeah, that's pretty obvious. And then week 3. You would hope, maybe in year 1, if you saw this schedule for Nebraska, Indiana at Lincoln, Ohio State at Lincoln at Memorial Stadium.
Big noon written all over them.
You kind of had the hope, though, that, hey, if Game Day were ever come back, national champion Indiana Hoosiers, number 1 ranked team of the country, the Ohio State Buckeyes, coming to Lincoln. If this whole thing with Matt Rule works out by year 4, maybe those were games that potentially could see Game Day come. I'm sure that Game Day would love to come back to Lincoln. It's been a while.
We'd take good care of.
We would definitely take good care of.
Even though we're a Big Ten school.
So I guess their first 3 games are all at SEC locations, right? Shocker.
Could probably pencil that in for
Yeah.
the vast majority of the season.
Until they go somewhere weird,
Yep. And that's hey, look at how diverse we are.
Yes,
game.
we have one game. Look, we went to Memphis. We care so much about the state of the entirety of college football. John goes, I hope GBR is over its PTSD after Indiana spanking of us 56-7 in 2024. Apparently, John's saying that the New York Times preseason ranking had Nebraska as 58th out of 138 teams. Nebraska is 39th, according to Brett Ciancia, this season.
That's a big difference.
We will talk. Yes, it is. 58th is like one of the worst Power 5 teams in the country. 58th, bad. It's terrible. It's terrible. So we'll talk about a plethora of things today. We'll go ahead. We will do we'll talk about Oregon and TCU on buy, sell, hold, or bet. We will talk about Troy Dannen and Tom Chattel, that article that was released of Dannen talking about revenue generation and the difficulties of trying to develop that in college sports and college athletics. It was a very eye-opening article to hear Troy say a lot of these things. The top 32 list of catering in the NFL came out. Josh Hodson will go ahead and try to guess who the bottom 5 teams are.
I have not looked at this. I have not read this yet. I've seen it on the socials. I've abstained.
There were some uppity journalists, though, who are like, I'm not there to eat. I'm there to report. I don't care about what they're catering at the game. This is a useless article. Those people suck, all right? Those people are the worst. Those people are insufferable. We can have a little fun. You can go to a game and be like, hey, look, pretty good food.
Look.
We went to Kansas City. Remember when we went to Kansas City? Pretty dope setup by the Chiefs.
Yeah.
In terms of the variety and quality of what you could eat. I'm pretty sure they had an ice cream machine there.
There's a large disconnect between classes in this country.
Oh.
And I understand that everybody wants to, sort of unpopular to be in the media right now. And media members will very quickly, I'm just a regular guy. I'm just a regular guy. It's very JJ Watt of them to step out and go, guys, I'm one of you. I don't care. I don't take the free popcorn. You could give me a hot dog and I'd be fine. I'm just hashtag blessed to be covering the football as a career path. Shut up. Okay. Be a human. Be a human and that's cool. This is a cool thing.
Hey, the job has perks.
Yeah.
It's got perks. Enjoy your perks. I enjoy my perks. You enjoy your perks. You talk about your perks. I talk about my perks. Our perks are our perks. We're good with perks.
Perk. Sometimes you get a free meal at work.
Yes.
Con. Everyone yells at you on the street all the time.
Perk. You play in a golf outing a lot. All right. Con. You have to work 14 hours a day.
Yeah.
Perk. You go to Vegas.
What a perk.
Your company pays for Vegas. It's okay to enjoy it. Our perk is we get fed free food once a week, and some of them are of pretty high quality. Number 1 will not surprise you. There actually is a little bit of I'll give you a hint here when we do this. We'll do this later in the show where you guess the top 5 worst and the top 5 best catering. There definitely is a correlation between quality of franchise in terms of wins and quality of catering. There totally is there is a correlation between wins and catering. And I do think it says something about how some franchises are run. So we'll talk about that at some point today. Robin Washut at 1:20 from Husker Online and On3 will join us to talk all things Nebraska football and Nebraska basketball. But coming up next, let's talk about Dannen and some of the things that he said to Tom Chattel of Omaha.com coming up next here on Middays with Matt. We all know money is a part of the college athletics game. Probably the name of the game now, for being honest. How much money can you get? How much revenue can you generate? Can you pour that into your athletic teams, right? And then what are you going to spend? And how much donor dollars can you get? Can you facilitate third-party NIL deals? Are you going to use multimedia rights companies to do it? So on and so forth. That's a lot of the things that we talked about here on this show throughout the last couple of months, in part because we haven't had, football to break down really. And especially when college basketball season was over, we were really talking a lot about this stuff. Now, interesting article came out from NILstandard.com. So NILstandard.com is not so much of an article as it's a ranking system in which they rank who the top spenders in name, image, and likeness are across college sports. Now, we have not used NIL Standard before on the show, but we've actually used another database called the sideline.co, and they have a football NIL school market index in which they go ahead and they rank top to bottom who's spending the most money on football and then also give you a number. Now, here's the thing. These numbers are inaccurate, okay? These numbers aren't official. These are more so educated guesses based on information being grabbed from a bunch of various different sources, along with just kind of understanding, hey, the NIL value of a Cam Coleman, and NIL value of an Arch Manning, and the NIL value of so on and so forth. You can see how many quality players that teams have paid or, that teams have, and then you can kind of deduce and infer, right, this is probably how much they're paying for a guy like this, and then you do the math, right? So these numbers are not 100% accurate because they are not official, and I do think it's something that, when we get to having basically a salary cap on how much athletic departments can spend on certain sports and stuff, and we already kind of do have that with rev share, but it'll be, the Save College Sports Act really goes into play here, and it actually gets passed, and you have $48.5 million to work for. I think it'd be more transparent and just good for the game if we knew who was spending on what sport. I think that would just make things a lot easier for everybody involved. But anyway, NIL Standard went ahead and released their top 25, and then later released just every single school, what they're spending on, and what they rank within the conference. I want to thank John Bishop because he went ahead. He made a great graphic, the host of Unsportsmanlike Conduct, and he put it on his Twitter.
Thank you, John.
Because the NIL Standard ranking only goes up to 25. And then you have to you have to download a CSV file and then see where they officially rank, and then a bunch of other stuff. John was nice enough to go ahead and figure all of that out and rank them and put it on official graphics. So Nebraska ranks 29th overall in the country in terms of money spent on football, $23.7 million. They are also 9th in the Big Ten. They are behind teams such as Oregon, Ohio State, USC, Indiana, Michigan, Penn State, UCLA, and Washington. They are in front of Michigan State, Wisconsin, Rutgers, Maryland, Minnesota, who is 14th, Illinois, who's 15th, and Iowa, who is 16th. Iowa is 16th in the country in NIL spending, according to NIL Standard. They are only $700,000 ahead of Northwestern and $200,000 ahead of Purdue. Okay? Talk about doing less with more. That's what the Iowa Hawkeyes have been able to do. And so Nebraska, who is spending more than teams like Minnesota and Iowa, who they've lost to plenty, is in need of more money, obviously, right? If you want to get the best players on the field, you want to get the best talent possible, you want to get the dudes in the jerseys, you got to pony up. And so Troy Dannen, in lieu of this, had a conversation with Tom Chattel of the Omaha World Herald. And, Dannen made it very clear that, look, he sees false things on Twitter and on social media all the time, okay? And that often he sees often inaccurate numbers that he even, implores people to not necessarily trust. But then he continued, though. He was explaining, hey, these numbers aren't very accurate. They're I see a lot of false things on social media all the time, but then I don't know if I don't want to say something snapped, but then he really peeled back the curtain and he really let us know the difficulties of his job and some of the things that he's going through. And so he said, quote, the number one item on my job description the number one thing on my job description is my ability to generate revenue. It's like, that's my number one job, right? Like I have to generate revenue for this university, and I have to do that with all the tools that I have and do whatever it takes in order to do it. He's like, it's my number one job description at this point is to generate revenue. And he then continued to say is, quote, I will say, I do almost feel like we spend more time apologizing for doing the job that athletics require in 2026. He continues, if we don't do our job, our future is severely limited. No one's doing this because they like having people upset and calling and yelling and threatening. That's not the way this is done. He continues again. We're doing it to put the University of Nebraska athletic program in better position for success. Today, the economic piece is much more relevant and prevalent than any time in our past. But let's not forget, we had suites before anyone else. We were finding ways to generate revenue before anyone else did, which is why we don't have debt. In some ways, we went 25 years and rested on that. He then continued later in the article, it's a fine and delicate balance. We have not optimized our revenue in volleyball. He said that they don't plan on necessarily optimizing their revenue in football because there's still going to be 25% of tickets that you don't have to pay that initial fee for, even when they do the football reseeding. And he was like, we hope that's a nod to the people, but, you know, is that enough nod? Who knows? And so this is such an interesting article to me. And it's a good job from Tom getting these quotes in relation to NIL standard and how much Nebraska's spending on football, because no one knows. These numbers aren't official. But he even in the article said, look, we are not flirting with the top of the conference. That is something that he said. That's something that he admitted. We are not flirting at the top of the conference when it comes to how much we spend on players. And so that is him admitting, right? Hey, maybe these numbers aren't completely accurate, but they're accurate in the regard that we aren't at the top and we aren't, you know, at the cutting edge right now in terms of what we're spending on this football team. But then I could kind of feel the frustration within him in these quotes being like, look, guys, this is my job. My job is to make sure that Nebraska football and Nebraska athletics have enough money to get the most talented players in those jerseys. And yes, I know it's upsetting to you that we have to reseat for volleyball. We have to reseat for football. We have to reseat for basketball. We have to do all of these things that prioritize donors, because if we don't prioritize donors, they're not going to donate to us anymore. I understand that you might be upset by that, but this is what we have to do. We don't have the cookie man in the sky just giving us all this money. We don't have the chicken finger man or the oil man or the Walmart people. We don't. Okay. This has got to be a collective effort from all of us, right, in order to keep up with the Joneses. And some of the things that we're doing, frankly, we should have done a long time ago. We should have done this a long time ago. And frankly, now he didn't say this. This is me. Okay. Now this is Matt talking. If Troy ain't going to do it, somebody else will. Like this isn't just like Dannen is doing all these different stuff to raise the revenue. No, whomever is the athletic director for Nebraska athletics has to do the job of generating revenue and getting enough money to pay these players. Now, here's my one thing. I understand the reseat has to happen. I understand the volleyball receipt's got to happen. The football receipt's got to happen. I get that. We all got pissed off about the basketball reseat. They pushed that back for a couple of years. It's still coming, though. They definitely do need to just find more ways than to make something else more expensive. Like they've been doing that a lot. Now, the football games haven't been because they're a little low on ticket sales. But things are they're just kind of making what used to be available to a lot of people way more expensive now. And he talks about it. Like I said, I already read that quote, the delicate balance. He understands it. There is the delicate balance between generating revenue and raising prices and making sure people are still happy, they're still invested, they're coming to the game. This is not a job that I want. I don't want to be the athletic director for Nebraska. I wouldn't want to be an athletic director everywhere.
Games can't get here soon enough.
It is a difficult job, especially if you are Nebraska, who, Nebraska's like, what? They're the second smallest school in the Big Ten, right? When you have the second smallest school in the Big Ten, what does that mean? It means you have a smaller alumni base than a lot of other schools, right? There are 40, 50,000, 60,000 people going to these other schools in the Big Ten, which means that it's a math problem, guys. There are more people who are alumni for those schools, which means there are more people who can donate and help give them money, right? And a better chance in a way that you have a whale. And so I think that it's one of those things where I sympathize a little bit with Dannen, right? And I think that there are a laundry list of people that have allowed the apathy to grow with Nebraska football that Dannen is not included on that list, because this is simple. If Nebraska football is winning, more people are going to be willing to give money to it. More people are going to donate to it. If you build it, they will come. But the problem with Dannen, and which is part why I sense his frustration in these quotes, is he ain't coaching the football team. Okay? Yeah. He can't really do anything about it. He's just got to hope that this guy, whom he didn't even hire, by the way, is going to end up doing the job he needs to in order for his job to become easier to ask for more money. And I can totally understand from Dannen's perspective, especially when he's saying, you guys should have done these things years ago, and now I have to do it, and I have to be the bad guy, and we got to get yelled at, and we got to get threatened. Guys, this is the game. I also totally understand it, though, from a fan's perspective, where the fans are like, hey, dude, why should I give you more money? I was born in 1998. I haven't seen Nebraska win one national championship. Nebraska football, for basically my entire life, has been more of a disappointment and embarrassment and butt of jokes than they have been champions. Why should I be giving you more of my hard-earned money for that until you show me something?
Dannen has spent this entire summer asking fans for money at every single turn.
Yes.
Read the bleeping room, dude. Groceries cost more than ever. Gas costs more than it. We ain't got it, okay? Checks in the mail, Troy. Sell the 25-yard line to a sponsor. Name it the Runza Concourse. The Unity Walk or whatever the hell it's called is brought to you by Agco. Like, be more creative in sponsoring stuff. I ain't got nothing for you anymore, okay? You've nickeled and dimed me all summer long. Football ain't the place where I'm going to make an investment and go, you know what? Long-term thinking, I'm going to write Troy Dannen a check. I bet this pays off.
It only raised the price of things so much. I understand his frustration. I totally understand why fans are like you, who are like, F you. I don't want to give you money. Right?
My kid needs this. My kid needs that. My wife needs this. Like, I ain't got it.
Do you know who this all falls on the end of the day, Mr. Hodson? It's the man wearing the headset, okay?
Yeah.
Who's the head coach for Nebraska football. That is the solver, the potential solver of this whole problem. You cannot continue to say, all right, you have to pay more for things that you were paying less for. That cannot be the consistent problem to that solution. The consistent solution cannot be, hey, yeah, you used to have 4 volleyball tickets. Now we have to let these big rich donors come in, take some of your seats, and now you're going to go from 4 tickets to 2 tickets, and you're going to be moved to a completely different spot that you're not used to. That cannot be the solution every single time. At the other end, though, I can understand the guy being like, you can't complain to me that we don't have enough talent because we need more money to do that, and unfortunately, the money's going to have to come from you.
Put a giant ass Pepsi logo on the volleyball court. I ain't got it.
But then you're going to have to, but Josh, too, I love this. You're going to have to deal with people calling in being like, man, you've made you've made the court look like a NASCAR. I don't like that. Oh my God, Memorial Stadium. It used to be sacred. The turf used to be sacred. You're putting more advertising on it. That's disgusting. He's going to have to deal with that too. That's something that he has to deal with. The jersey patches is a great example of this, right? He has to think in the back of his head, how are people going to freak out about this when we put a jersey patch on this thing? Because people are going to be like, oh my God, you're desecrating a sacred piece of my life. The Nebraska jersey should never have a sponsorship. It's both. I can understand, and I definitely more sympathize more to the fan because I'm sitting here as someone who isn't from here, right? Mm-hmm. Like, what the hell's Nebraska football done for people not born before 1997? What has Nebraska football done for those people? And for the people who have given Nebraska football a lot of money over the past 10 years, what have they done for them? They ask these people over and over again, give us money, give us money, give us money. And some of these great people have given them money for what? 4-8, 5-7, 7-6. They've given hundreds of thousands of dollars just to see their team not meet up, not perform up to expectations. I can totally understand why people are like, screw that. I'm done with this.
You can absolutely go, hey, I'm Troy Dannen here. This is my annual spiel to hey, this is the big, I need your donation speech. We'll do this once a year. If every time I see this guy, he's asking me for money, I'm going to avoid him. It's why a lot of people hey, I'm not going to church anymore. They ask my money for this and this and this and this. I'm just not going because I don't want to be, I don't go to certain parts of town where there's going to be a guy on the corner asking me for money at every single turn. My habits are going to change if you annoy the hell out of me.
It's one of those things where this is just a very unfortunate piece of where we're at in college sports.
Totally.
If Dannen goes elsewhere and leaves, the next person who's hired here to be this athletic director, they're going to do the same thing.
It's sort of why, I've made fun of him in the past, why Matt Davison was a perfect meat shield for this sort of thing.
Well,
hey, the AD's not asking for your money, but every time you see Matt, he's going to be asking you for
Can I be real
something.
with you?
Yeah.
Is this not a reason why Trev left? Where Trev goes ahead and he presents the Memorial Stadium rebuild and says, hey, guys.
They laughed at him. They called him a madman.
And he said, hey, guys, this is what we need to do. And by the way, it would have been a hell of a lot cheaper to do what Trev wanted than to what we're doing now. And he said, this is what we have to do. And everybody got all pissy about it. Everybody got so upset about it. And then what did he do? You guys don't get it. You guys are not with it. You know what? I'm going to go to Texas A&M where my ass doesn't have to worry about how much I got to fundraise. That's what Trev did. You don't think that read these quotes. Read these quotes. Read these quotes from Dannen. Read him saying, I'm tired of being threatened and called and yelled at.
Don't threaten Troy Dannen.
That's not, he goes, everyone's calling and yelling and threatening us. That's not the way to do it. Read those quotes. Does it not sound like a guy? If somebody went up and said, hey, Troy, you can be the athletic director here and you don't have to worry about it. Doesn't that sound like a guy who would be like, you know what? I would actually enjoy that. I would actually enjoy my job being easier and for me to be making some actually groundbreaking decisions, because even when the athletic department goes ahead and says, has all the success, there are some people who go, well, he didn't hire any of them. It's the ultimate push and pull. But at the end of the day, Troy's got to do what Troy continues to say that he wants to do, which is find new and creative ways to generate revenue. What new and creative ways have happened recently? Because all I've really seen is just more reseating and more making things more expensive to which they were in the past. Mm-hmm. That's what it's been a lot of. I don't know. I think he's got a tough and hard and thankless job at this point. Now, he gets paid a lot of money for it, but he's got a very difficult job to do. At the same time, there are moments where it's like, brother, I can't keep paying more for seats.
We got to hit a break here. I know that, but very quickly, there are a million other branches of this story. Hey, how come Minnesota doesn't spend any money but can beat Nebraska routinely? And the Matt Rule of it all. We can get to those. We're not ignoring those. I'm mad at Troy Dannen for constantly asking me for money. I don't have any, Troy.
I think you are totally right to feel that way. I think I sympathize a little bit more to the job he has to do. But at the same time, yeah, like the volleyball receipt, man, that didn't earn a lot of favor there. I know it hurt a lot of money, but there were people who had 4 seats who were told you're going to keep your seats. And, you got it. We had that story from Frommer, right? In the Omaha World Herald of that woman literally and her family pulled together money to get higher on the donation tier list just for her seats to be cut in half and be moved somewhere else. That's not the way to do it either. It's tough, man. It's a tough business. I think both sides have a point. I think you totally have a point in saying, I'm done giving you more money. And I think Dannen totally has a point being like, brother, this is the game. At the end of the day, Matt Rule's got to win more football games is really what it is, though. That's just what it falls on. All right, 16-20 the zone. For those of you who missed the last segment, I recommend you go back and radio replay it. It was very good. We talked about Troy Dannen's great article by Tom Chattel, where Dannen basically explained that, he understands that a lot of people are upset after what everything kind of has been going on in terms of the difficult decisions that they've had to make in order to generate more revenue. Additionally, though, he says, hey, this is the name of the game. If we're going to be competitive and have the best athletes on the court, the field, whatever it might be, we have to do this. I think we ended up on Troy Dannen does a very difficult job, and there are things that he has to do that are very difficult. And these are kind of some of the things that he's right in some regards. Like, hey, like you can complain about it, but if you want to have the best athletes on the field, this is what we have to do. There also, though, is the point of like, I don't know if consistently valuing donor dollars over loyalty is going to generate that necessarily. And I think that they have done some new and creative things to try and generate revenue. Hell, like they had a concert there on Saturday, right? The Turnpike Troubadours were there. So that's like they're more open to do those things and to get that money. At the same time, it definitely is a delicate balance in terms of, new and creative things and just asking for more and more money and valuing donors over people who have been in their volleyball seats or softball seats or baseball seats for an extended period of time. So I think that it's a tough job, but at the same time, it is off-putting when every time we talk to you about it, you say, you have to pay me more money. You have to give us more money. Because at the same time, there are some people who could say, what has Nebraska football given me? What has Nebraska football given to the people who haven't seen the national championships? Not a whole lot. A couple conference championship games that you lost, and then the last 10 years has been a lot of underachieving expectations and being the butt of college football jokes. It has not been fun. And I don't think that Dan, for a second, has an easy job. Let's go ahead to the Prairie Flower Casino Zone text line. Prairie Flower Casino, play longer, win more. If Nebraska wants to save a ton of money, stop guaranteeing contracts to coaches that get fired. Guarantee it. If they win, they get cut off like the rest of us. If they lose, here's the thing: that just can't happen. You're not going to compete with other schools to sign coaches unless the guaranteed money is there. The argument is, though, just hire the right coach, right? Hire a good coach. Hire the coach that gets the wins, which obviously has been difficult over the last couple of years. John goes, unfortunately, Rule is not going to be winning more football games. Lane says, we have the best facilities in college football, and we can't even develop them at the level of Iowa, Illinois, and Minnesota. That is definitely, which is why I think when Rule got hired, we were all fired up in a way because we're like, yes, player development. That is something that's been lacking here for the University of Nebraska, especially under Scott Frost. You can look at all the metrics in terms of annual recruiting rankings versus NFL talent. Nebraska is one of the worst in the country. They have been for quite a while. And when you hired Rule, you were hoping that was going to turn into that was going, that disparity between the talent you brought in and the talent that ended up going to the next level would be cut down. And it's one thing to say like, oh, he hasn't had any high school guys like get drafted. Like, that takes time, right? That takes years of developing classes and having those guys go through the system. But the fact that they haven't had a transfer portal player come in and get drafted, that's definitely telling. I mean, that's shocking considering the fact that there have been a lot of guys who had transferred to places and ended up getting drafted, and not just in the first round. I'm talking round 2, round 3, round 4, round 5, like down the line. And that is something that you can definitely question, not only development, but evaluation as well. But I think the point is like, Dannen calls it a delicate balance. I think he's completely spot on in that. There are fans, Josh, that was awesome from you in the last segment, who are like you, were like, brother, groceries are expensive. Gas is $4 a gallon. Okay. The cost of living is very high. I can only extend my pocketbook to you so many times. It really just boils down to give me something to be inspired about, give me a return on investment. The people, the hardworking people here in the state of Nebraska who give a ton of money to the University of Nebraska, if they were to have given that money over these last couple of years, even dating back before Rule, what has their ROI been? What has their return on investment been? They've given a ton of money to this program for what? Rule said it himself. They didn't come here to go 7-6. People ain't giving you money to go 7-6 either.
Put an NIL shirt on Huskers.com. I'll buy it. Like,
yeah,
people in this state will buy it, but you just, hey, can I have some money? Like, no.
Yeah.
What for? No.
I mean, it's
well, for better players. Okay, that's kind of like a abstract like thing. It's not like I give you $500, you win more. Like I got to get something.
They did do that one thing where you could go in and pay to tour the new facility.
Mm-hmm.
That was great.
Do that. Sure.
That was awesome. I don't know if they're still doing it, but I remember they did it. And hell yeah, there are going to be plenty of people who have those dollars who could say, yeah, $250. Me and the 4 people in my family, let's go on tour. Like, do stuff like that. The whole, like, I understand the reseeding thing. I completely get it. And I do think that he is right in some regards to say, hey guys, you've had it pretty good. Okay. Some of you have been grandfathered in. You haven't had to pay this,
sure,
upfront fee.
It's
like,
a real thing.
You guys have definitely benefited off of that longer than other fan bases. And it's time to give back a little bit. I totally understand that from him. But man, it really bothered me when they did like the reseeding did not go well for volleyball in terms of how they communicated it. And then, yeah, the baseball stuff really bothered me too, where Will Bolt has been saying, we want to host a regional. We want to host a regional. We want to host a regional. And people laughed at him, Josh. People are like, ugh, whatever.
Too lofty a goal.
That's what people said. And they did it. And they hosted a regional. Let's not talk about what happened after, but they hosted it.
Doesn't matter.
And season ticket holders were faced with, yeah, by the way, you're probably not going to be able to sit in your own seat because, when these tickets come out, we're going to value it by like tiers. What? What are we doing? And I know they pulled it back, but they still did the basketball reseat 1 year after they had the greatest season ever. That was still an intention of theirs. You're like, what? What are we doing? It's a delicate balance. And I am kind of I'm in the area of, I don't want to have that job, but man, you're asking a lot from people to invest in a product that has been nothing but disappointing for the last decade. And that's the truth.
That's
the truth.
That university used to be on the cutting edge of ways to make everything better. Weight room, nutrition,
sure,
name it. And y'all ain't got no more ideas down there? Just a hard sell every 3 weeks? Like,
I haven't seen them recently. Like, I can't.
You got a sales department down there in Lincoln.
I can't act as if like I know everything they're doing, and I don't. Right. At the same time, what has been the most new and creative thing that you've seen them do?
I guess have concerts at Memorial Stadium, but that's not an innovative idea.
Everywhere else is doing it. They've been doing that for years.
Yeah.
For years, other places have done that.
What? Oh, this is an excellent question, man. I know we're not supposed to say that anymore, but
great question. You can say excellent.
What is the most innovative revenue stream they've created?
Volleyball Day in Nebraska.
Ooh, okay. Yeah.
93,000 people there for a volleyball game.
Anything since then come to mind? Like, I can't even get like, hey, what would the nominees
People can
be?
do weddings. Is that happening, or has that already happened?
That one lady,
I haven't seen a ton of people do it.
That one regent said, we will not let people be buried at Memorial Stadium.
That would have been great, though.
I think maybe it's time to open up the coffer, pun intended, to allowing people to spread their ashes at Memorial Stadium.
What are the most ridiculous?
Who cares?
All right, this is great. The most ridiculous things that Nebraska football can do to generate revenue. Oh, God. I saw this one from Dave Fight. If you buy the most tickets to a game, you get to pick when the kickoff is. If you
I
buy
love
the
it.
if
I
you
love
buy
it.
the most tickets to the Washington game, you can pick that you personally get to decide whenever the kickoff would be. Now, that would never happen because of TV, but still wildly creative.
What do you mean Nebraska Lemoyne is a midnight tip-off?
You know
is that
what?
a typo?
How about this one? How about
No,
this one?
it's
You
not.
ready? How about this one? Everyone gets mad at Adidas for the alternate jerseys. Okay. I can't tell you the last time Nebraska had an alternate jersey and people were like, oh my God, this is incredible.
You
This
know
is
what?
phenomenal.
That's okay.
Like
It's fine.
people find like last year was probably the easiest one because it was just black.
Yep.
It was just a black jersey. It was just the Nebraska jersey with a different color. But even like, remember when they did like the 100-year anniversary and it was like the Bug Eaters and they did that like blue little outline and they did the blue gloves? People were like,
Ass.
yeah, people were like, you just put a blue outline on the number. Like, that's not creative. I love the 9/11 jerseys in 2021 against Buffalo with the camo on the shoulders and stuff like that. Like, that was cool. Here's the thing, though. Everybody bitches and complains about the alternate jerseys. Alternate jersey contest. Go ahead.
You do it.
You do it. But $50 per submission. You want to submit it? $50.
Okay.
People would do that. People would sign up and they would make their own jerseys, have them send in, and then pick one of them. You know? Hey, John from Salina, congratulations. We love this jersey. It's got so much history to it. You're raking a couple grand. Maybe a lot more money than that. You only need to get 1,000 submissions and you have $50,000.
For a donation, whatever it is, I don't know. You get to eat at the training table. Today.
Ooh.
You get to walk through.
That's
that
a good
part of the
one,
facility,
Josh
Go
Hobbs.
to that Starbucks. Go to Matt Rule's Starbucks and order a beverage and eat yogurt and a parfait or whatever.
You
they
get
have
to
there.
play on the Golden Team machine.
Whoa.
That
You
one.
get to dent Scott Frost's truck.
Yes.
Now that's that's a money maker.
Yes, that is. That'd be crazy if they did like anti-Frost propaganda-based revenue generation things while Frost is the head coach at UCF.
We're gonna have an onside kick competition.
We're gonna
Just all these thinly veiled shots.
Yeah.
Just
You know what? We're gonna have a VIP party at Gate 25.
mhm.
We're gonna call it a Frost out. Why? We don't know. We just thought it was a great name. God, there's a look at us being creative. They need to hire us, is what needs to happen.
Platcat in the chat says slide down the railing for $5. This is the railing Scott Frost slid down. You can slide down it too, and it'll be just as real.
Oh, you get to try the field goal that was missed against Georgia Southern that they missed and Scott Frost ended up getting fired. You get to try that field goal. $25. If you make that field goal, free season tickets rest of the year.
Hello.
Don't have to worry about it. Put you right on the 50-yard line. Eric in Milwaukee goes, just bring in UCF for a bye game. Those would be the hottest selling tickets in decades. I do want to go ahead to Twitter. And have you seen Brett McMurphy's preseason college football bowl predictions?
I have, Matt. I've never wanted anything more.
Look, there's no shame in the content game, but Lenardi knows what he's doing, putting Nebraska in Omaha.
This is the same thing,
and putting
Matt.
Oregon playing Creighton in bracketology for the Dana Altman Memorial Classic.
It's week 0. My bowl projections don't matter. Why don't I get some clean?
Nebraska versus USC in the Cactus Bowl. UCF, sorry. Nebraska versus UCF in the Cactus Bowl in Phoenix on December 26th is Brett McMurphy's initial bowl prediction.
That is the perfect place to hold this game.
Yes, great point.
Phoenix
would be chef's kiss to put it there. If you know, you know. That's great. Cactus Bowl used to be the Rate Bowl.
Correct.
I did go back and look at the history of who the teams have been. Last year, New Mexico and Minnesota played in the Rate Bowl. New Mexico was 9-3, and Minnesota was 7-5. Minnesota obviously won that game. Minnesota played West Virginia back in 2021 in this game. West Virginia was 6-6 at the time, and Minnesota was 8-4 for that game. So you're looking at anywhere from a 7 to 8 win season if you were to be in the Cactus Bowl.
I'm thinking about revenue generators. at Memorial Stadium, the thing with these stadiums now is you got to have the most garish, big food. You got to have a
the
100-ounce
wiener,
tomahawk
if you will.
steak.
Yes.
64-ounce margarita, some type of collector's cup that makes fun of Scott Frost, but without like, hey, we're not going to get sued. I don't know.
John on that note writes in, drag the margarita machine out of storage and sell margaritas on game day.
Exactly.
LSD Will has a text that we absolutely cannot read on the air that I might lose my job if I were to read that. But it is funny, Will. Okay.
We have read your text.
It's funny. I could not say that. Jordan,
I don't even know if I can allude to it.
No, there's no beating around the bush for that one.
You got another one?
No, they said it couldn't be done. I did it. Jordan goes, I can tell you for the right amount, you can do many of these things already.
Hello.
Seriously. Dan goes, eat yogurt with Troy Dannen. Can you imagine somebody eating yogurt with Troy Dannen? Hey, come on. What are you doing, man? Putting jersey patches on? Seriously? Hey, how about the dedicated to greatness patch you're putting on the back of the jersey now? Are you kidding me? Eat yogurt with Troy Dannen just turning into a bitching hour.
It's
would be
also
awesome.
just the most Nebraska promotion ever. Like, hey, this is our annual yogurt feed. Like, everybody sits down at a cafeteria table and we eat yogurt together. Just sounds very Nebraskan to me. Like in the most quaint, like Nebraska nice way. Like I'm not making fun of anyone when I say that.
I could see like somebody's grandpa Ron like eating yogurt with Troy, and
everyone at the yogurt feed is over the age of 65.
And by the way, he's got an itinerary of things he wants to talk about with him. Got
a list here.
I got a list
one by one.
Number one, Troy, what do you think of the fullback?
I'll make them quick. Yeah.
Yeah. You're in on the fullback? Okay, let's write that down. Okay, the triple option, yes or no? Would you have hired Scott Frost back in 2018?
Oh, no, obviously
no,
not.
obviously not. I knew that he was, immature. I talked to Bill Moose after I read the Crab Creek Chronicles. I told him, you know what? Your head was in the right space.
Not so sure about this Palan guy anyway.
Oh, what can we do? You know what? Let's do a financial advisor session with Ndamukong Suh.
Okay, that's a real thing.
You bid on the opportunity to sit down with Ndamukong Suh and because he's very passionate about business and he's very passionate about creating and maintaining wealth. We auction off a 1-hour financial advisor session with Ndamukong Suh. That would go for a lot more than you think it would.
Yeah. All right. I'm Ndamukong Suh. Welcome. Congratulations on winning the bid. Rule number 1, don't buy stupid crap like financial advice from Ndamukong Suh.
Rule number 1, don't donate to your university. It's a waste of money.
They're just going to ask for more.
It's just an Ndamukong just telling them how bad the ROI is on NIL.
It's like in high school when I gave blood to the Red Cross, and every 3 weeks they kept calling me, noticed you haven't came in to donate blood in a while. Is something wrong? Would you like to come in and donate blood? When can I get you on the books to come back and donate blood? We take plasma too. Would you like to give us some plasma?
We auction off the ability to be on the headset. You don't say anything, but you're just on the headset for a Nebraska football game.
Somebody would buy that.
Somebody would buy that. And the coaches would have to be on their best behavior too. Because I don't think it was so funny last year.
Make them sign an NDA.
Maybe that's what I thought immediately. But don't you buy that so you can tell your buddies how crazy it is? Because I see Ben Johnson screaming and yelling on the Bears sideline into the microphones. And at one time he was just like, everybody calm down. Or that happened with Matt Rule one time. Matt Rule got caught on the camera being like, everybody calm down. I'd love to be on the headset.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any more ideas before we take a break here? John goes, that would blow up. Sue would tell them to quit giving money to a losing team that you will never get back.
Yes, the obvious biggest revenue generator for Nebraska football is to win games.
Yes.
We understand.
Look at us bringing it full circle to a serious conversation. Yeah, just win, guys. And
Look at men's basketball. Look at volleyball. Look at softball and baseball after last season. Like,
If you build it, they will come.
People are falling over themselves to pass the hat around and put money in and be a part of that.
Guys,
just win, baby.
M equals M. If I have to point at Josh again, I'm going to flip. What does that mean, Josh?
Money equals momentum.
Thank you. And what does the inverse of that mean? Momentum equals money. Yes. Do you know what creates momentum? Wins. Just
eat a dub.
Win. Yeah, seriously, talking about that guy. He the Cleveland Browns named their starting quarterback today. Deshaun Watson going to get another opportunity to be a starting quarterback in the NFL.
We should all be so lucky.
Josh, can I say this? That guy sucks.
Whoa.
That guy just sucks.
Hot take.
He just sucks. Period. End of story. And then he had the gall after he got booed out of his own building during a preseason game against the Bills to say that this is the same fan base that cheered when I got hurt. And he said, quote,
That's right,
might have to play 17 road games next season. He also said it's, quote, a disrespect thing. I wonder why, Deshaun. I wonder why.
That's hate to break it to you, Deshaun. That's the most loyal fan base in the sport.
Because he's such an upstanding citizen that deserves all of the love and the praise. He's never done anything controversial or incredibly wrong in his career to deserve that, ever. PC goes, whispers, he still gives them the best chance to win. Probably. But it is insane after how Deshaun Watson says we should play 17 road games. They go, all right, you're going to start for us. Now, funny enough, do you know where they start their season? On the road.
Oh, on the road.
On the road. All right, we're going to take a break here. You might be on the road. We're going to hit a couple-minute break, and then we'll come back. Do you want to talk about catering?
Always.
We do that next here on Middays with Matt. Don't forget to tweet at us at the Liquid Trucking Zone Twitter feed. Liquid Trucking Pesky Blues was out there for our phenomenal
Shot at
1620 The Zone Golf Tournament. It was a overwhelming success. We want to thank everybody at Miracle Hill, along with the Phoenix, who they did a great job hosting us at both the golf course and at the after party afterwards. I was able to hang out with some people yesterday, actually, who went to the golf tournament, who had nothing but great things to say. Pesky Blues was there of Liquid Trucking. Great hanging out with him, along with all of our other friends. We saw Nathan Jasker, Black Guy was there, Kenneth was there, Sindelar was there. So many great people, so many of you great listeners who are part of the 1620 Zone community. It was awesome to spend time with you. We're doing it again. That was the overwhelming message amongst us after, was that, hey, this is something that we have to continuously do. And so we're very, very excited for that. But we want to thank everybody who helped put that event on once again. All the people at Usher Media Group, and Keely and Stacy and Heather and Josh and Cammie and everyone in between. Obviously, Josh Odson, our fearless program director, did a phenomenal job of making sure all of the wheels were turning. Also, shout out to the producers, Nick and Joey. They did a great job setting up and making sure everything went smoothly. Big shout out to Joey, who was there forever. He did the morning show and he did the afternoon show for Miracle Hill. And then he spent a while breaking down all of the equipment by himself at the golf course. Shout out to him. He was incredible.
He earned his old fashioned.
Absolutely. Now, speaking about old fashions, I don't know if that's something that you will get at an NFL game for catering. Now, I haven't been there, but I've been told. I'll actually ask Robin Washut about this, because he's talked about this before. At the University of Illinois, when you go to Champaign, they have a keg on tap in the press room.
Hello.
Like, you can, after the game, go ahead and pour yourself a beer while you're writing your article, which sounds absolutely phenomenal. So we'll ask Robin about that when he joins us at 1:20. But a awesome article. I think this comes out every year, but we're going to dive into it this time. Jimmy Kempski, my apologies, is an Eagles writer for the Philly Voice. He's been doing it since 2013. He does his rankings of NFL catering, throughout the entirety of the NFL. Might I add, this is one of the best articles I've written in some time. It is done with an incredible amount of detail. He has pictures of all the different options in catering. He has descriptions in terms of what they sold. This has been very, very meticulously and detailed and put all together in order for people to know what life is like for an NFL beat reporter. I'm not an NFL beat reporter. You're not an NFL beat reporter. We are in the broadcasting space. Granted, I've mainly only ever eaten catering meals in the United Center, Memorial Stadium, and that one time we went to Kansas City. That's about it. So I'm very curious to hear what all these spreads are. You said you wanted to guess who the top 5 and who the bottom 5 were.
I have not read this article. I would like to take a stab at it.
Okay. We'll start with the bottom 5. And
Okay.
I do have descriptions. I've written down descriptions here as to what they provided. So let's start with the bottom 5. Who do you think is the 32nd team?
Dead last?
Dead last.
I will go Cleveland Browns.
They are second to last. They are 31st. The Cleveland Browns, Jimmy's biggest complaint is they didn't have coffee.
Whoa.
They did not have coffee at the press room in Cleveland. How do you have writers, broadcasters, television people, radio people, and not have coffee? Caffeine is the lifeblood of this profession. Not having coffee is a mortal sin for them. They also just didn't have very good food as well. You got just a bad turkey sandwich, no coughing, and I think their sandwiches were they were the things that people didn't buy in the venue, from the people. So they were second to last. Continue. You have one. You got one. You're 1 for 1.
Traditionally cheap organizations. I will go Washington.
Not in the bottom 5.
Wow.
I do not know where the
new ownership. It's a new day in DC.
We do have a lot of Dan Snyder references in this article, because that is kind of, I guess, the benchmark of terrible. Washington, 26 out of 32. So still not great, but above the worst.
Arizona Cardinals.
Cardinals not in the bottom 5.
Nice stadium, good facilities.
Cardinals ended up being 23rd. They served corn, brisket, a biscuit, and a chicken leg. And they did have a carving station, albeit it was pointed out that the carving station wasn't that good. It was a little dry.
Carolina Panthers.
The Panthers are not in the bottom 5.
Really?
The Panthers rank 9th, actually. Jimmy writes,
9th?
The Panthers are kind of a surprise team to land in the top 10. In the morning, they had Krispy Kreme donuts and coffee. I've had plenty of Krispy Kreme donuts in my day, and yet I don't know if I've ever actually paid for one. It's a nicely written article. He had the prime rib with potatoes, macaroni salad, some carved chicken, a Hawaiian roll, and a cookie, and then finished it off with a nice swirl ice cream sundae, which was topped off by sprinkles and Oreos, is what Jimmy had. You only have one of the... Come on. I told you there's a correlation to losing.
Yeah. The Dolphins?
Dolphins, no, not in the bottom 5. The Dolphins ranked...
Wow.
Let me quickly look here. 17th. They actually had a full menu.
I thought I'd be better at this, everyone. I'm sorry.
The menu for the Miami Dolphins is actually a very simple one. If I just lost it. Are you kidding? All right. Their menu. Fresh field green salad, charred asparagus, roasted shallots, sun-dried tomatoes, and mustard aioli.
I've never been to a game and they were like, here's a salad.
Scalloped potato au gratin, a beef meatloaf with country gravy, seared chicken breast with a balsamic reduction and charred tomatoes, and at halftime, crispy chicken wings served with hot sauce and blue cheese dipping sauce. Wow. They also had a lemon meringue and key lime pie station that you could go and just take off of a shelf. They were ranked 17th.
All right.
The brisket here that he had actually looked very good.
I'm going to try one more. And
go ahead.
And then you can reveal the bottom 5. Got to point the thumb on this one. The Tennessee Titans.
Josh, they are not in the bottom 5.
Phew, okay.
They are not in the bottom 5.
I tap out on the bottom 5.
They're in the 24th.
Okay.
They had a BLT salad, country mustard potatoes, coleslaw, hickory smoked brisket, barbecue pulled chicken, and seasoned mixed veggies. Okay. Coming in at 32, the Jacksonville Jaguars. This was an easy one. You should have got this one. This is on you.
Okay, yeah.
Disappointed you didn't. Okay. It's goop. They were literally serving goop with like cheese and
gruel
meat. It was bad. It looked terrible. You got the Browns at 31. Ravens come in at 30.
That surprises me.
So
interesting food city, Baltimore.
The food was not good, but the thing that, and I've known this, that the Baltimore Ravens do, is they do crab cakes at halftime. And people are very fired up to have the crab cakes at halftime. That's kind of like a niche little broadcasting thing.
So do they sort of quit on the other aspects because everybody just wants the crab cakes at halftime?
Yes.
Okay.
They were late. The crab cakes were late.
Oh, no.
And not a lot of people got up from their seat to go and grab the crab cakes because they were doing their job. So that was tough. Tough look for Baltimore. They might rise up this list if Philadelphia goes back and Jimmy can have their crab cakes. Number 29, the Chicago Bears. Very disappointed, but not surprised. It looked like a continental breakfast that Jimmy had.
Whoa.
Belgian waffles, which were cold and awful. O'Brien potatoes, less awful than the waffles, but still bad. Bacon, okay. Sausage link, cold and bad. Scrambled eggs, no thank you. Now, Jimmy does take a picture of the different options you had to drink from the soda fountain. Jimmy is not a Chicagoan and does not know that the combination that the Bears give you for soda is an ode to Chicago, because you can get Dr. Pepper, Diet Dr. Pepper, 7-Up, Squirt, RC Cola Diet, or RC Cola straight up. Have you ever had Royal Crown?
I've had Royal Crown Cola.
Oh
yes.
my God, it's awesome. I love RC. There is nothing better. I'm going to relate to nobody here. I don't care. There's nothing better than being a little kid and mom ordering your tavern-style Martino's pizza, 2 larges, and it shows up with an RC Cola. That was peak childhood. Peak childhood.
The official soft drink sponsor of the National Football League is Pepsi.
Yeah.
A partnership that has spanned over 2 decades. You want to have those independent bottlers? That's cool. Do that. Maybe just also have some Pepsi and Mountain Dew around.
They have RC Cola. I love it. He gave him a knock for it. I thought it was great. I was like, that's so funny. Now, here are our top 5. So The Pittsburgh Steelers were the fifth and final one. They were the fifth worst.
Oh, really?
Turkey and provolone. They just had a box of a turkey and provolone sandwich.
Crown jewel franchise of the league like that, I would have thought they would
Very
take care of
lazy.
their people. Okay.
Chargers number 5. Okay.
On this is top
5.
Okay. I was going to put the SoFi Stadium gang together because that's an elite facility.
It's just a very good spread.
Yeah.
You know, they have everything you want. They have snacks laid out. They have a pastry area laid out. Like they have I believe that this is so you'll come to find out that there is a commonality, but they have an entire pastry section and a variety of different drinks, along with some very nice like water with like cantaloupe and watermelons and mints. Very nice water. Now, the Seahawks, this is where it picks up. They had a
that's one of the 5 I would have guessed
top
on the good
4.
side.
Herb crusted pork loin carving station.
If it's pronounced herb, but whatever.
Served with roasted Washington apple gastrique, okay? With a Starbucks coffee inside their facility, along with chicken and brisket and different sorts of sweets. Number 3, would you like to take a stab at this one?
This is the spot I will go. I'll go Vegas here.
Vegas not in the top 5.
Really?
This spot belongs to the Texans. No surprise.
Okay.
Great snack setup, but they had the tacos, they had the carnitas, they had the El Pastor, along with they have some very fancy afterwards, like in halftime, they had this what they described as a punch-soaked pickle with hot Cheeto crust, which apparently is absolutely phenomenal. Number 2, you can get this one. Come on. Food City.
Okay. Food City?
Food place.
East Rutherford.
Atlanta Falcons.
Okay.
They have jerk chicken, chicken fried steak, three cheese mac and cheese, cheeseburgers, tangy Jamaican coleslaw, potato salad, yuca fries, red beans and rice with country coconut curry milk, salad bar, a dessert table with cupcakes, cookies, and brownies.
People rave about the food inside Mercedes-Benz. So, yeah.
Number 1, and it's been undisputed for a while for Jimmy.
It's the Cowboys, right?
It's the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
Prime rib carving station, grilled buffalo chicken breast with lemon butter cream sauce, cowboy mac and cheese, grilled asparagus with roasted tomatoes, creamy Yukon mashed potatoes, artisan rolls, along with baby greens, roasted potato medley, and a roast beef and salami sandwich. That is to die for, apparently, along with the probably best dessert you could think of. Dual say cheesecake fried rolls, ivory cream cheese carrot cake, toffee mousse and caramelized green apple tarts, and 86% chocolate cremuse shooters with raspberry ganache. Cowboys Fun Day Gelato Bar with raspberries, blackberries, cherries, M&Ms, crumbled toffee, black and white crumbs, crunchies, along with whipped cream and sprinkles.
Bravo. Bravo.
Say what you want about Jera. Say what you want. The man knows he's like that uncle that didn't have kids that just wants to spend all the money to spend all the money.
Yep.
That's
Spare no expense.
That's what he is. He does not care. He's got a lot of it. He knows it. Oh,
if I got something, it's got to be the best.
Mike goes patatzis. Yeah, that was probably one of my worst screw ups in a while. I like roasted patatis. That's what that sounds like.
That's what he calls.
That sounds like a really bad word. Cotton-headed ninny muggins. You patati. Sounds like a mean name to call somebody.
Yeah.
We'll find out about some people who probably said some mean things to one another on the Odd News with Josh Oddson coming up next year on 1620. Josh Odson. What do we have today, my friend?
Just haven't had a chance to talk about this story yet. I know it's a little dated at this point, but we can still laugh at it. New Oklahoma State coach Eric Morris.
Yes.
Recently shot and killed an armadillo that was damaging his yard. Morris, the former North Texas coach, hired to revive a struggling program in Stillwater. I don't care about any of this. Described his overnight encounter with the armored mammal during a session with reporters. My brain's going constantly, and so I don't sleep very well. I've had a couple of armadillo problems tearing up my lawn. Finally, a couple of days ago, I just popped up at 2:30 because I couldn't sleep and thought it was a great opportunity for me to go outside, and luckily, I found him. It was the first encounter with an armadillo for Morris, who said it was crushing my yard, my flower beds, digging everything up. The article from ESPN.com says, and I quote, Morris made quick work of the animal. And gave new meaning to pistols firing, a popular slogan and hand gesture used by Oklahoma State fans and teams. Had to send a text message to my neighbors. He said, I apologized for the gunshot. I am in the country, so it was legal, but I did get rid of him.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I believe there is nothing a coach in this country could do more.
Agreed.
To
indoctrinate himself to a new fan
base than a coach at Oklahoma State shooting an animal on his property.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
That's immediately what my first mind was, they're going to love this guy.
Yep.
You know,
that's their guy now.
What would have been cooler? Eric Morris going to all of the high schools and putting the Oklahoma State logo on said high schools, or Matt Rule shooting an armadillo in his backyard in Waverly?
I mean, it would help him.
It would help him.
Mm-hmm.
It really, it really would advance things. Be like, we need a coach who wants to get his hands dirty. We need a coach who knows his way around a gun. You know, that would have, now that's more so Oklahoma State people, not Nebraska people.
Sure. People
from Nebraska don't talk like that. But good for Eric Morris. I think they're going to be good this year.
A lot of people.
I think they're going to be really good. I think that Eric Morris, I don't know how long he's going to be at Oklahoma State. See, here's the one thing about Sig we don't talk about. We talk about Sig like going and doing what he did at Indiana, but he stayed at Indiana. Indiana could keep him there. I don't know if Oklahoma State's going to be able to keep him there. I really don't. We'll see what happens. Our second on news story.
Second story, we go to the icy waters of the ocean. Which ocean? I don't know. Wherever Norway is. A boater in Norway was hit with a hefty fine after intentionally using his ship's horn to wake a sleeping polar bear.
What a dummy.
Can we just stop being Richards to the animals, please? The incident happened this month while a boat was traveling in the... Ooh, wow, that's a lot of words I'm not going to say because I don't know how. I'm not smart enough. According to a statement from the governor of...
Wherever that place might be.
Yep.
Can I see? I can't see now.
No. Too
All right,
small
we'll read it
font.
off the air.
Those aboard the vessel spotted a polar bear sleeping on land before one person sounded the ship's horn, causing the animal to awaken and move elsewhere. Other people aboard the vessel later reported the incident to the governor. Authorities determined that the person had intentionally disturbed the polar bear and was issued a 50,000 kroner fine.
Whoa.
Roughly 5,300 American dollars.
Okay. I was going to do the math myself.
The fine was accepted and paid for.
Wow. What a dummy.
Yeah.
Polar bears are the only animals that will eat people.
The only bear, right?
Yeah. They think you're food. They want to eat you.
Yeah, probably not the one to mess with.
Do you know that movie with Captain America, what's his name? Chris Evans, where Snowpiercer, where it's that train and it's
Captain America's white. Interesting.
And what? That's what Captain America is.
There's a new Captain America.
He was formerly Captain America, Josh. Stop trying to cancel me on my own show. All right? Read the masthead. Jeez. Anyway, we've had some close calls today. Anyway, Snowpiercer. You've seen the movie.
I have seen
with Chris Evans.
Yes.
It's a good one. It's a dumbass ending. I'll tell you why it's a dumbass ending. Because at the end, you're supposed to think, wow, they can live in the earth now because of the snowflakes. And then they see like a polar bear. That polar bear is going to go and eat all those people. You know what I'm saying? They're showing the polar bears like, oh my God, life could exist. No, they're all screwed. That polar bear's got lunch today. That's why I didn't like that movie.
Final story.
Thank you.
Well, I'll do it quickly, even though you're going to want a lot of follow-ups. Woman, 38 years old, pretended to be 11 years old to trick couple into adopting her.
How?
Great question. Let's find out together. The headline was enough for me. A woman has been arrested for posing as a child and tricking a couple into adopting her and living with them for more than a year. Amanda Marie Souza de Olivier allegedly scammed the couple to get her own bedroom filled with toys and even throw a 12th birthday party for her. Despite being 38, she was charged with fraud and false identity for allegedly moving into the family's home for 14 months, disguising herself as a child. This happened in Brazil. Prosecutors accused Amanda of creating a false identity and presenting herself as 11. She had allegedly approached a religious community after claiming she had fled home and had no ID on her. I'm guessing, to summarize, she was poor, maybe unhoused.
Yes.
And this was a way for her to get free room and board and things paid for her.
I'm looking at her now.
She apologized in a court of law.
I could see, like, she looks younger, but 11? 11?
Yeah.
All right, let's take a break. I have a lot of questions.
Yeah.
I have questions on this. Let's take a break and let's reread the story and ask some questions because this is ridiculous. And I'm kind of freaked out here on Middays. All right, we have a funny text after the story we left you off with as a 38-year-old woman pretended to be an 11-year-old for an entire year. Number one question. I understand the 38-year-old is going to get punished, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I understand that. They're charged with fraud. How stupid are the two people who adopted the 38-year-old?
Yeah,
we're like moving on from this like as if they're victims, which they are in a way. That's on you. How do you not know they're 38? What do you mean you're 11?
She was just short. She wasn't like
she's not that young looking.
Yeah, I don't think she passes. I would ask 11. Do we do the math right? Are the birth records correct?
So I guess they adopted her when she was 11, but obviously they had a 12th birthday party. So like this thing went for 14 months. She was disguising herself as a vulnerable girl 26 years younger than what she was. How did they find out she was 38, by the way?
Okay, I'm going to keep reading the article. There's not a lot left, but there's a little more meat on this bone. The family believed they were helping a traumatized child and eventually treated her as a daughter, preparing a bedroom and paying for her to live. They even organized a 12th birthday party, as we told you. Amanda, the fake child, used an infantilized voice, a child's voice. She was doing a bit. Children's toys, pacifiers, and baby bottles to maintain the alleged deception. Pacifiers and
at 11
baby bottles
at 11?
No,
at 11.
I understand.
You got to get with the program. You got to have a better acting coach. We're not using pacifiers and sucking on your thumb at 11. We're past that.
You got to be careful with like, okay, this is a victim of trauma. We don't want to, whatever gets them through life. I understand that. But at a certain point, no, we can't be doing bottles anymore.
That's where you draw the line. You draw the line at baby bottles.
That's right.
It's hysterical.
At 12. She said her adult appearance
screwed her. Not her being 26 years older or her clearly like having an adult body. No. It was the baby bottles that really sent it over the edge.
Hey, we want a kid so bad we're willing to, not believe what's in front of our eyes. Like I get some of the
once
things.
Again, they are idiots. All right, they are idiots.
Amanda, the fake child, said her adult appearance was the result of being forcibly given hormones during childhood. So at some point, somebody asked a question. 11? You're 12? You're sure?
Yeah. Now she did have the gall to say that she did lie and she did deceive, but she did not defraud or scam anybody.
Yeah, she's like, I did not intend to scam anyone. That's a direct quote.
What is lying to get a bed, to get food, to get money poured into you? She got clothes and was taken care of. There was actual money was put toward making sure that she was. What is lying and deceiving to receive financial and monetary benefits?
The child's lawyer.
She's not. Screw that. She ain't a child. She's not a child.
The 38-year-old lawyer argued during the trial that Amanda had not caused financial losses and said the identity was instead a survival strategy. It was the way she found to survive, but she has been a vulnerable person for more than 20 years. He had added there had been no allegation that Amanda had obtained financial advantage through robbery or theft, arguing that the elements of fraud had not been established.
It is robbery and theft. You lied to get benefits.
Hey,
somebody robbed them from that.
They were going to adopt. Somebody was going to get this stuff, okay? They were going to spend that money.
Or this could have gone to anyone other than the 38-year-old who's pretending to be 12, which, by the way,
Yikes.
I'm sorry, I'm worried about the other kids in this situation because she had a 12th birthday party.
Yeah.
Was she going to school? Was she hanging out with other 11-year-olds and 12-year-olds pretending to be an 11 and 12-year-old?
I understand that she was in a desperate situation, but would you go through? I mean, I guess maybe I would go through being a 12-year-old if I could get away with it, but it doesn't seem like the most fun age to pretend to be, right?
I think 7 was probably the peak, right? I mean, you didn't know anything other than Capri Suns, push-up popsicles.
Yeah.
And playing on the monkey bars. 11 is a tough time in life. I feel like you're transitioning from middle school to junior high. That's a tough transition. I think she missed the mark.
They confiscated her cell phone because she was given one in this new house. She researched how to make drawings to move evangelical people.
You know what? Straight to the point. I'll give her that. Evangelical. It does tell me that these people were a little bit, I guess they were nicer. They were not, they seemed like they were fine people.
Yeah.
They're just, how do I put it? What's the word? Idiots is what they are.
Yeah.
But you know what? I was about to say it happens, but it really doesn't. You know, it really doesn't happen.
That's why I put it in the odd news, because this does not happen a lot.
Mike goes, my daughter went to high school with a guy who's actually a 27-year-old high school graduate.
Whoa.
Did you ever hear about that article like in Miami? This was like over a decade ago. It was in like Florida where they had cops undercover pretend to be high schoolers in order to sell weed to students in order to have like a high school drug bust.
A lot of these sound vaguely like the plot of the Drew Barrymore movie Never Been Kissed. Okay.
I've never seen that movie. Is it a good one?
Yeah.
Old woman who's never been kissed goes back to high school to kiss somebody. What year did this come out?
I'm not saying old person. I would not say that about the delightful Drew Barrymore.
She's not listening.
Maybe she is.
She's Drew Barrymore. If you're listening, 402-951-1620. Call in right now.
I believe the plot of that movie was she worked at a newspaper and they were like, well, we need to know what high school kids are for some reason.
That's crazy.
We need to know how high school kids live because they're reading the paper, right? So she posed as a kid and she's like, well, maybe it's best if I if I sit in the background as like a loser in high school. And they were like, well, why don't we make the loser prom queen or something like that?
Florida high school drug bust musical.
Pedro has a good text.
Go ahead.
Hi guys, was she buying beer and cigarettes for her friends at 11 or 12?
I did think about this. Like, did she also try having like a double life, or was she just an 11-year-old?
Yeah, was she going out to ride her bike or something at night and like actually hanging out at the corner bar?
Great idea. Yeah. That'd be so funny though. How was your day today? Tough. Art class was rough. I mean,
these kids are killing me.
You know, we're doing the paper mache unit, and it's just one of those things where it's like these kids just don't understand layers, and I try and teach them to them. PEMDAS, though, we're getting into that. You know, that's not that hard. I'm transitioning well.
Josie Geller, a baby-faced junior copywriter at the Chicago Sun-Times, Chicago, must pose as a student at her former high school to research contemporary teenage culture. With the help of her brother, Rob, Josie infiltrates the inner circle of the most popular clique on campus, but she hits a major snag in her investigation, not to mention her own failed love life, when she falls for her dreamy English teacher, Sam Colson.
Okay, at least there's the silver lining.
All right, there are some major landmines within the plot of
Go
Never
ahead.
Been Kissed.
Continue, please.
The student is falling in love with the teacher, like that's a bad look for.
Well, but
I know I've seen Never Been Kissed. I don't remember.
Does the teacher end up getting with Drew Barrymore?
I do know she gets exposed as not a high school student. I remember that part.
Okay, but my problem is that I don't want that guy to win. You know, to be like he falls in love with a student. And he's like, oh, see, she's 27. I was right the whole time. No, dummy. You thought you were falling in love with a 16-year-old.
Yeah.
Bad Takes Doug goes, Josh, tell Matt about the election filmed at Papio High with Reese Witherspoon. All-time classic, great movie. You know, Reese Witherspoon actually killed somebody.
She killed somebody?
With a knife.
Is this a Matthew?
You get it? Witherspoon. Okay. Yeah, what'd you do with a knife?
Thought this was a Matthew Broderick situation.
Yeah, no, I was making a Witherspoon with a knife joke.
Yeah.
I could have set that up a little bit better. What you looked up election.
I did.
Kenneth goes, that's not how you say that joke. He goes, this is how you do it. All right, this is how I'm supposed to set it up. I forgot it's like Witherspoon. You ever see those people on Instagram who do like the dad jokes to one another? You ever fall in that algo of Instagram?
Maybe not not deep into it.
Okay, you go, hey, did you hear about that actress that killed somebody? Yeah, Reese. And you go,
Reese Witherspoon?
no, with a knife.
That's better.
Bang!
Do that one.
You see?
Yeah.
See? That's it. See? That's what I was going for. What's the plot of Election?
Oh,
This could be a good bit. We just look up random 2000s rom-coms I've never seen and read the plots of the movies.
yeah. Let's.
What did Election with Reese Witherspoon look like?
Jim McAllister, played by Matthew Broderick,
Close enough.
a well-liked high school government teacher, can't help but notice that successful student Tracy Flick, played by Reese Witherspoon.
Yeah, that's a hot, top cast member name, Tracy Flick.
Uses less than ethical tactics to get what she wants. When Tracy runs for school president, Jim feels that she will be a poor influence on the student body and convinces Paul, a dim-witted but popular student athlete, I believe played by Chris Klein, Nebraska's own, to run against Tracy. When she becomes aware of Jim's secret involvement in the race, a bitter feud is sparked.
And it's Broderick and Witherspoon?
Yeah.
That sounds like a very mid movie. What I'm going to guess this was released in 2003.
1999.
Really? The high school, when was the last good high school movie like that?
Ooh. Okay.
Silver Linings Playbook? But that's not like
a high school?
No, not Silver Linings Playbook. What's the one not Silver Linings Playbook. What's the one where the lady the girl unfortunately has cancer and she falls in love with the high school kid?
The Fault in Our Stars.
The Fault in Our Stars.
Yeah.
How did I get that confused with Silver Linings Playbook with Jennifer Lawrence and Bradley Cooper? People are asking.
Yeah, I imagine that's going to come up. Yeah.
Cracky goes super bad, but super bad was a while ago.
I think that's what Crecky's saying.
It's been too long.
07. Almost 20 years since we've done a good high school movie.
We need to do better high school movies.
Yeah.
What would be, I feel like though that if we did a Gen Z isn't that just Euphoria? Is it just a Gen Z high school movie?
Oh.
Euphoria. They just did it as a television show. But then Euphoria went from being like a clicky drama high school movie to then it turned into something crazy where Sydney Sweeney, is just turns into the gigantic woman and is stomping on cities and stuff like that.
That happened in an episode of Euphoria.
I know, that's crazy. It should just be about oh my God, Brady stole my jewel. What an ass,
A couple people bringing up a High School Musical. Matt, when was the High School Musical?
That came out. The first High School Musical movie came out in 2007. It's 2006, actually, if I believe.
Whoa. So Superbad was a post-High School Musical.
High School Musical
movie.
Came out. But that's not real. I guess it definitely is a hype, but it's not to the same degree of it's not like comedy. It's not like comedy high school movie, right?
Mhm.
It's very much a Disney high school movie. High School Musical release date. I feel like we need more. Pedro goes, hi guys, be careful. Starting to get into creeper area. I'm not. Best high school movies will always be The Breakfast Club, according to Los.
Yeah, very popular choice. Sure.
Absolutely. I don't know. Come on now. I know your tone. You don't agree with that?
It would not be what I picked. It's a very fine movie.
Ooh, Brian from Bellevue.
Hi, Brian.
Project X. That was 2011, 2012?
2012. Yeah, you nailed it.
Yeah.
Miles Teller. Oh, wow.
Really? He's in Project X.
I've
never seen that.
He plays a character named Miles.
Everybody
plays themselves.
I said to now, Red Dawn wasn't a high school movie. They were just high school kids.
Yeah, I would not call Red Dawn a high school movie. Yeah. But no, yeah, you're right. They were
high school kids. Claude Van Layden goes Pitch Perfect. College movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a high school movie. Dazed and Confused, best high school movie of all time, says Cracky.
Okay.
Easy A.
That was 2010. I looked that up.
Easy A.
God, that was 16 years ago.
I'm telling you, we have not had a good high school movie in a while. It's been a minute.
Should we get our movie studio rolling on a script for
all right, let's
cast next great high school comedy?
Great idea. All right, let's cast a high school movie real quick. Let's go.
This is what people want in our noon segment, by the way. Taking that lunch hour, going, all right, what's up with the Huskers?
All right, we'll do that next.
It's coming. Don't worry. We'll get there.
Glenn Powell's got to be in it.
We didn't have a crossover, okay?
Glenn Powell definitely in a high school movie. He's like the hot, too old teacher.
Yeah. I don't know if we can afford Zendaya and Tom Holland.
No, we cannot.
I don't think we can. We're not there as a studio yet.
Who's the lady who played Superwoman?
Oh, yeah. Supergirl. Millie Alcock.
We can get Millie Alcock. And then now we need, you know what? Let's just throw Henry Winkler in this thing.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay. What's he gonna?
He's gonna be
Principal?
like the principal.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was the principal in Scream.
He was
It
the
didn't work out
band.
very well
He was the
for him.
band teacher, and Here Comes the Boom with Kevin James. Do you remember that? That's a high school movie.
Sport Connection.
Sport high school movie. Who could forget Here Comes the Boom with Kevin James? That was a great movie.
Society has tried.
All right, we'll take a break here. I like it though. Winkler, Powell, Alcock. I don't know what plot we're at yet, but I feel like we have the man. Well, how about that one guy from Tires, the side character from Tires everybody likes?
Plot is secondary when it comes to a high school movie. You got to have the right cast.
Kenneth goes, Millie Alcock, a young Rhaenyra Targaryen. What is that? Is that Game of Thrones?
You nailed it.
Okay.
Good
I know
job.
Targaryen.
Uh-huh.
Those are the people who always had sex together, right? They're the Targaryens were the incest people.
Not my wheelhouse.
Okay.
I know.
Josh Hodson, not an expert on incest. Good. Great to know. Put that on a headline, tweet that out, let everybody know. Josh Hodson, expert on Husker football. We talk about that next here on Middays with Matt. Don't forget to go to 1620thezone.com. Enter now at 1620thezone.com to win your way to see Nebraska travel to Oregon in Eugene. We're giving away 2 tickets to Nebraska versus Oregon at Eugene, 2 round trip airfare for 2 from Omaha to Eugene, 2-night hotel stay, and $150 gift card for food, rides, or game day gear. Keep listening to Middays with Matt, this very show, for bonus chances this week to earn even more entries. The ultimate Husker road trip could be yours thanks to our great friends at Woodhouse Auto Family and 1620 The Zone.
Quick note on that. You will want to study famous ducks this week.
Ooh.
If you want to get those extra entries on Middays with Matt, we'll just get you ready today. We'll dole them out throughout the rest of the week, but you will want to bone up on ducks.
All right, I have 3 down.
Okay. I have about 2 dozen ducks.
You have 2 dozen ducks?
Yeah.
What are you, like a Jeep owner? To have so many ducks for no reason?
I feel like it, yes.
You know, by the way, look, I think the Jeep Wave, cool. Jeep Wade, even cooler, but the Jeep Wave, cool. The ducking thing, I don't get the ducking thing. I don't get it.
It's not for you to get?
We do own a Jeep in my family.
Oh, that's right.
So there have been moments where I go and I'm in the, Jewel Lasco parking lot. All of a sudden I pull up to the car. There's just a duck on my windshield. And one time my mom said she had a bucket of ducks in the back seat because she's like, we need to duck people if we see a Jeep. And then one time she came back and she said, I ducked somebody today. And I go, who are you trying to avoid? Who are you trying to see that you don't want to talk to? She goes, no. I put a duck on a Jeep windshield. And I go, that is the stupidest thing I've heard. I love you, though. This is great. Theo goes, McMaster, get into the Cleveland Browns drama. What drama's there?
We dabbled earlier.
It's a terrible quarterback,
yeah. And
it's a terrible decision to have him start. Oh, we're paying him so much money. Just eat it at this point. Like, I guess if he's not your long-term option is what I don't understand. Like, they're trying to make a round peg fit in a square hole. Okay, it's just one of those things where it's like this. It's not going to work, brother. It's not going to work. And this guy, too, he just did terrible things all those years ago, never amounted to anything. It's the Cleveland Browns' fault. They gave him maybe one of the worst contracts in American sports history, right? He's either been bad or been hurt the entire time. And then, now says that he wants to play 17 road games because the fans boo him because he has set them back so far. Cleveland Browns had a great roster last year from a defensive perspective. They had an awesome defense. The year before, they had a lot of those same pieces on defense and a great offensive line. The Cleveland Browns were not too far away from being a legitimate contender in the AFC North. Hell, they won a playoff game with Baker Mayfield, who at the time wasn't at his peak, at Pittsburgh. All right. The Browns were actually doing something. And it's their fault they bet on that guy because that's especially coming off of what he was coming off of. But, I mean, from a Browns perspective, I look around and I saw my defense last year and I'm thinking, man, like, Fannin looks good. Junkins looks good. They obviously stopped investing in the wide receivers because who cares if you're investing in wide receivers if your quarterback is awful? So they put it elsewhere. But they at one point had some very talented wide receivers on that team. The Browns could have been something if Deshaun Watson lived up to his potential. He did not. It's their fault for trading for him. It's their fault for giving him that money. They're the ones who made the terrible decision. But at the same time, like, no, I don't. How can you like that guy? How can you like that guy? What is redeeming about Deshaun Watson? Nothing. And then he goes ahead and he says that crap where he's like, it's disrespectful. And they cheered me when I got hurt. And now I don't want to play at home. What is wrong with you, man? You should be thanking your lucky stars you have what you got, because frankly, you don't deserve it after what he did to all of those people.
There's a phrase from the series Mad Men that comes to mind here when you are expected to probably not attack your own team's fans. That's what the money's for. Shut up. Cash the check, play like garbage, rinse and repeat. Like, just
look. Do I think do I think that Shedeur Sanders is going to be a quarterback that's going to get a mega extension and be a legitimate Pro Bowler, not one of the handout Pro Bowls that he got. Like, he's going to be a legitimately good quarterback in the league. He's going to be a legit top 10 guy. Probably not. I think it's well worth giving him the shot, though, compared to giving Deshaun the shot.
Yeah, I mean,
the concept of
we drafted the wrong guy. Like,
the concept of I'm paying a lot for this thing, even though it's crappy, I'm still going to use it, has never made sense to me. Well, my dad did that with a lawnmower once. He bought before we hired people. He bought a lawnmower. He spent a lot of money on it. It was crappy. He was like, well, I still have to use it. I spent a lot of money on it. I'm like 10 years old thinking, no, you don't. Now I'm thinking back now. No, you don't. It's crappy. Just take your loss. Get a new lawnmower. Put your hand up. Hey, I messed up. Should have bought a John Deere, You
should have.
That's what I forget what brand it was, but it was a lot of money. It was crappy is what it was. That's what Deshaun Watson is. He's a lot of money and he's crappy. Theo goes, Deshaun apologized today. I don't care.
Oh,
I don't care.
I got that. Hold on.
I don't care. He already showed his character. Fine by me. We talked a lot about Troy Dannen.
A couple times he showed his character.
Yes. We talked about Troy Dannen today. That article written by Tom Chattel where, he told Tom the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. He goes, look, this is the day and age that we are in terms of generating revenue. These are hard decisions and tough things we have to do. I'm not going to apologize for it because we cannot be and we will not meet the expectations of this fan base unless we do this, which is generating revenue and maximizing revenue generation. And his words, it came, obviously, he didn't say it, right? It wasn't an audio clip. It was, typed out. It was a quote. So you can't really tell the tone in which he says it, but the words, right? The words reek of frustration, and he explains at one point, he goes, people are frustrated and people are yelling at me and people are threatening us. Like, that's not the way to do it. But frankly, I have to be able to do my job and I have to be able, the number one ability that he needs to have as an athletic director is generating revenue, generating money. And he's generating money for mainly the football team, mainly Matt Rule. So what did Coach Rule have to say at his press conference on Saturday? I think the story of fall training camp has been the emergence of Gunnar Gatula. I don't know how many stories you can really specifically point out. I think an early contender was Jeremiah Charles. We'll see what the depth chart looks like if he ends up being the second cornerback or Victor Evans. I think an early story was, hey, Owen Chambliss, looking the part and talking the part and being already heralded as a leader. But I think that when Gunnar, battling through injuries, being thrown into the fire right away, was kind of in the group of guys who had expectations, right? Gunnar had some expectations to take the next step last year. He didn't fully do that. He kind of falls into the same category as Van Poppel and Len Hart, where people were disappointed that his progression was not linear. But now here's a guy who they brought in dudes to replace him. They brought in guys to take Gunnar Gatula's job. Gunnar had to know that. Gunnar went down and he did the work, and now Matt Rule, it's kind of only been the one guy he's really, really complimented consistently and heavily. Said some things about Chambliss, but goes, look, we'll see what happens with Tree Babalade. If and when he comes back, he's working back, but Gunner's one of our top 5 guys. Like Gunner, he basically told you Gunner is going to play. Here's my question, though. So we've talked about this with Gunner. He's cross-training, in a bunch of other positions. Jeep Wade has explained that. He's got offensive linemen playing everywhere. Apparently, he was playing at center, which you have a preseason All-American second-teamer and Justin Evans playing center, so I don't think that's the guy he's going to take over for. But hypothetically, if Babalade were to come back from the injury, and it lit a fire under his and he was able to use that motivation of potentially losing his job to recapture the tackle position, whose job does Gunnar take, right? Like, if he's a top 5 guy, who else is he replacing? Does he take over from Mbanga? We've heard some things about him. Jashir Whittington had some top things to say, and one of the, in between the lines of that was Mubanga was talking about, Winnington was talking about taking first team reps against Mubanga. So obviously, Paul Mubanga is starting on the offensive line. So is it Black? I mean, that's the one thing about Brendan Black. We've only ever heard about his experience, but we've never really heard like, oh my God, the guy was an all Big 12 guard, right? It's only ever been how many snaps and how many games he started. You go and you look at his stats. He's not bad. I'm not saying he's bad by any sense of the imagination, but I think with a guy like that who's played a lot of football, like, has he hit his ceiling already? Like, is there more of a ceiling for him to go through, or is he kind of at where he's at? And could Gunner potentially take that spot? I just find it so interesting when, Rule is unwilling to say, yeah, Gunner's our right tackle, but he's also willing to say he's playing. He's going to play. So I think it kind of gives you a little bit of a deeper dive into what the offensive line potentially might look like in the fall camp that Gunner has had. What do you think about the single digits being back, Josh?
Oh, they're back?
They're back. He announced it. They are bringing it back.
Oh.
They are coming back. People have called it a bit. People have called it a gimmick. Some people have called for it to end. I kind of dig it. I kind of like it. I kind of enjoy it.
It's fine.
I don't think it's something we need to overreact to. Oh my God, Dylan didn't get a single digit. What do his teammates think of him?
Maybe they were trying to tell you something the whole time.
I think Dylan just didn't want a single digit because he's 15.
The brand is
sitting on a bench in Eugene is where the brand is. I'm sorry. Did I interrupt you there?
I think you helped me, actually.
Yeah, that's where the brand currently is. Get out of here with the brand. Brand this, brand that. Hey, he's on a bench. He's sitting on a bench. He's behind the actual best quarterback in the Big Ten, Dante Moore. Yeah, I said it. That guy's a stud.
Is Nebraska's quarterback problem any clearer after Matt Rule spoke to the media? Is this quarterback controversy ready to be settled in Lincoln? What say you, Matt Rule?
I understand the content game. I get it. I dabble in the content game.
You dabble?
I dabble in the content game. Okay? I love the content game. Sometimes you respect some hustle in the content game. Okay? Just like recently, there's a Twitter list of all of the best college football, personalities. Did you see that list?
PFT ranked the 100 best college football media members.
That is great content, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's subjective. It gets people fired up. Like, it's awesome. It's dumb and it's stupid, but that's what college football is. We just get mad about dumb and stupid things. I did not need the all caps red alarm breaking tweet that Anthony Colandrea was going to be the starting quarterback of Nebraska football. That was kind of crazy.
I'm glad one of the members of this media corps really held Matt Rule's feet to the flames and made him name a starting quarterback.
When I get a Twitter notification, very famously, I have Twitter notifications on all the time.
Disgusting.
When I get a Twitter notification and it is a all caps breaking with a red alarm emoji, I'm thinking the worst or the best has happened, right? I am thinking that either something terrible occurred and everyone's flipping out about it, or something great has happened and some cool crap has happened.
Is your phone like mine where you can't get all the text in on that push notification? So it says alarm, breaking Anthony Calant, and then you're like, whoa, what? Oh no, did he blow his knee out?
Josh Odson. That's exactly what I thought happened. I thought he had a non-contact injury. I saw it. I saw Calan, and I go, oh, no.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
It's over.
Oh, no, because I knew Matt was talking, and they were scrimmaging. So I was like, he got hurt at the scrimmage. I was like, oh, my God, he got hurt. And then, he names the starting quarterback. He literally went on the Big Ten media days and talked about when he shook his hand, he knew Anthony was his guy. Was that not enough to name a starter for you people?
It also feels like one of those quotes we're going to regurgitate.
Let me shake your hand.
Every Big Red overreaction.
When I felt Anthony squeeze my palm, I knew that he was going to be our quarterback. Why did that turn into Jesse Ventura?
Oh.
In the Baja, I was talking to Hogan once, and he...
sexual tyrannosaurus.
And Hogan, I knew he ratted me out to Vince about the boys and the union. Not a bad Jesse, the Ace Ventura. Not bad. Is it the Ace? Is that his nickname? I forget.
The Body?
The Body. Jesse the Body Ventura. I get Ace Ventura, Pet Detective.
Is that what you did?
I got
Both
Jim
before your time.
I
That's
got
fine.
Jim. Well, I watched the one Ace Ventura Pet Detective with Ray Kroc.
The McDonald's founder?
No, not Ray Kroc. Who was the Miami Dolphins kicker?
Finkel?
Yes.
That was, the first one.
So good. That first scene in Ace Ventura Pet Detective where he goes in that one woman's house. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
I remember.
Not appropriate for little kids to be watching.
Yeah, that's the thing in that movie that's not appropriate for children.
A lot of things not appropriate for children in that movie.
Speaking of film.
Go
Matt,
ahead.
This year, I believe, is let me check my notes on this very quickly.
Yeah, go ahead. Check your notes.
Is the 20th anniversary of a, oh my gosh, Google Cars movie right now, Matt. Lightning McQueen drives by your screen. It's pretty cool. The 20th anniversary of Cars.
Yeah.
And it is returning to cinemas.
In September.
Yes. The popcorn bucket and drink
No
cup
way. Is it
have
out?
been released, Matt.
Oh, no.
I'm going to get that off the screen. There it is on the YouTube stream.
Oh, my God.
Look at that popcorn bucket.
Ka-chow. Ka-chow. Ka-plow.
You could be sipping your soda out of the
Oh,
piston
my God.
cup. Look at that piston cup.
You have a piston cup? He has 3 piston cups.
You could get 3 of them, Matt, and put them on your mantle.
He's got 3 piston cups. Look again. All I see is an old empty cup. I went away from that world. I never thought that world would find me. These are good people here. When was there a time you cared about anything but yourself? You name me one time and I'll take it all back, Hot Rod.
I apologize to subjecting the audience to Matt's recitation of the Cars movie franchise.
They gave up on me. I came back. I had a lot in me. And they said, your history. Gave my number to the next rookie in line.
But I really did want his on-air reaction to the popcorn bucket.
Ka-chow! Ka-plow! How do you think I'll look in Dynaco Blue? Ha! You get it, Dynaco Blue.
Pesky Blues in the YouTube chat. I'd trade in all of Creighton's tourney wins for just 1 piston cup.
How many piston cups could Lightning McQueen win?
I don't know.
How many piston cups could he win, Josh? You cannot be my producer on the show and not know this trivia. Can you name me 5 piston cup winners?
No.
Cruz Ramirez, Jackson Storm, Chick Hicks, The King, Daryl Carltrip, Lightning McQueen.
I could have got 2.
Brick Evans, Danny Suarez, Cal
Raleigh.
No.
Cal Naughton.
No, not Cal Naughton Jr. Cal I forget it was the King's nephew, the King. I forget. Hokie goes, what a diss nerd. Stibbs, I'd be so embarrassed to like movies, to like a movie this much.
To like that movie this much.
What? It's my childhood. All right?
Yeah.
This is a fact, okay? What Empire Strikes Back was to you is what Cars was to my generation, okay? What's that one high school movie that we were talking about?
We just went over all of them a segment ago.
The one by John Hughes.
Breakfast Club?
Yeah. That's Cars to my generation.
Okay, just quick point of correction. Both Breakfast Club and Empire Strikes Back came out not before I was born, but I was very young.
What Jurassic Park was to you.
Oh, Empire came out before I was born. Okay.
What that came after you were born too.
That's more accurate.
What Jurassic Park was to you is what Cars are to me. All right? Hokie goes, don't you ever compare Empire to Cars. The disrespect. Matt McMaster here to piss the olds off on the 1620 The Zone Radio Network.
Empire, a proper trilogy. Cars, a misbegotten trilogy.
I currently am still rewriting Cars 2.
Okay.
Okay. Still have a lot here on the notebook. we'll take a break and I'll reveal one of my main plot points. That, and we'll actually get back to the Husker football talk we were supposed to have before the all glorious Lightning McQueen popcorn bucket came up.
We got QB1. We're fine.
Breaking! He's starting! Anthony's starting! Breaking! Don't forget about the 5K preseason plunder. Stock up on provisions before the start of the season. Improve your game day experience by upgrading your captain's quarters. Cash in on tickets to see your favorite team up close and etc. Enter or win at 1620thezone.com. Sponsored by Ag Consulting Group. As we continue to look at the Cars Cup along with the Lightning McQueen popcorn bucket. Incredible stuff. I'm very excited. I will be going to this on September 4th. Do you have any judgment of me for doing that?
No, absolutely not.
I don't know. I'm going to buy a piston cup. Okay.
Okay, so you're into the cup more than the popcorn bucket.
Yeah, I
Okay.
have Lightning McQueen Crocs. And I also have a Lightning McQueen jacket.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in my car. I can go and pull it out during the next segment.
Whoa.
Yeah, I keep it in my car just in case. I have like a spare jacket just in case I get cold or
Got
it's like
that thing on me.
I always keep my Lightning McQueen jacket on me. Skips goes, we've sat and wondered why Matt has struggled a bit in the dating game, but has anyone thought could be because of his Lightning McQueen car bed? Never had one. I never had one. I did have Star Wars sheets growing up. And I did have a girlfriend in high school, and she came into my room, shocker, and there was a big old Captain America shield that was hung up. And she was like, what in the good God is that?
Really?
Yeah.
I thought that would have been the most socially acceptable of the three things you just named.
I did have a big poster of myself playing hockey up in my room as well. So I think that explains a lot. On senior night, they give you a big poster of you playing. I was like, I'm hanging this sucker up. I look great. I looked awesome. Action shot and everything.
Yeah, I guess what do you do with a poster of yourself? Poster, huh? Interesting.
Bad Takes Guz goes, hey, McMaster, Fredoni had quite the game this weekend. Any comments? It's actual sports opinion you can share. No, I'm good. I got no opinion on that. I got zero opinion on that. I actually have an opinion on the fact that I have my Cars 2 rewrite here that we will not get into. I will spare us.
We're not going to get to that today?
I will spare us. By the way,
maybe later in the week things will slow down and we can.
They're actually just pick up, if anything. So this is developing, by the way, the San Francisco 49ers owner, Jed York, pled no contest to a pair of misdemeanor charges.
We're not going to talk 4 catches, 29 yards for Thomas Fedoni?
No.
Okay, interesting.
No.
Go ahead.
I just feel
Jed
like
York.
There's been so much going on with owners recently in terms of that one guy from L.A. He might actually end up getting arrested was what they're saying, the former owner of the LA Dodgers and LA Lakers. And you have the whole Genie bus situation, which I just refuse to dive in on. And it doesn't interest me. And then Steve Ballmer and Aspire and him circumventing the cap. We have all the drama with Mark Cuban and the owners of the Dallas Mavericks, them running it into the ground.
Why would billionaires think they could get away with whatever they want financially right now?
According to a Columbiana, Ohio court's record, the East Palestine police arrested York on Sunday with a charge of a description of engaging in prostitution.
He got arrested at a trailer park.
The charge was amended to misdemeanor disorderly conduct after York pleaded no contest to that. And an additional misdemeanor charge for possessing criminal tools. The court says the local prosecutor filed the plea deal Monday morning as York pleaded no contest and paid $1,150 in fines. Oh, my God. Could he afford that?
What do you mean criminal tools?
That's what I'm asking. I don't know how many criminal tools need AAA batteries. York was also sentenced to 1 day in jail for each charge. With 1 day already considered to be served, York has been the majority owner of the Niners since 2024, but has been the team's chief executive officer since 2008. He's originally from Youngstown, Ohio. So that's what we have going there. Dude, I mean, I don't want to know. I feel like owners are a little bit like umpires. They're a little bit like referees. I really don't want to hear from you. I really don't. I don't really want to know what you think. I want you. Thank you for funding the team. Thank you for buying the team. I'd like you to have nice facilities, and I would like you to have nice concessions, and I'd like you to appreciate the fans. And then, F off. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to hear from you. I don't want to hear about you and what you're doing in Youngstown, Ohio on a Thursday night. I don't want anything to do with that.
I have quickly found the Ohio definition of criminal tools, if you'd like.
Yes, I would love it.
No person shall possess or have under the person's control any substance, device, instrument, or article with purpose to use it criminally.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Each of the following constitutes evidence of criminal purpose. I'm just going to skip over the words I don't understand. Possession or control of any dangerous ordnance or the materials or parts for making dangerous ordnance in the absence of circumstances indicating the dangerous ordnance. We're saying ordnance.
Way too much.
Materials or parts are intended for legitimate use. Possession or control of any substance, device, instrument, or article designed or specifically adapted. If you're gonna do a crime with something, it's a criminal tool.
Stibbs goes, mine takes D batteries. At Matt McMedia from Brandon Miller. FYI, the Star Wars sheets bring good money on eBay.
Oh, hello.
Maybe someday the Lightning McQueen stuff will too. I'm not a collector guy. I just I don't buy something with the hope of selling it 25 years later.
But you do like making money. Do you
Yeah,
still have
but
those sheets?
But no, I'm not selling those sheets.
Okay.
Unless my mom sells them, but I don't think she will. My mom has a little suitcase full of stuff that I had when I was a child that she wants to give to my child when they are born.
That's sweet.
Which it's gonna break that woman's heart if I don't have children. I feel like there's a lot of pressure, you know.
Hey, you're way too young to be putting that pressure on yourself.
Thank you. I appreciate it too much. I put way too much pressure on myself. But a man who probably has more pressure on himself than I do, his name's Dan Lanning. We talk about him next here on Middays with Matt for buy, sell, hold, or bet on the 1620 Zone Radio Network.
Buy.
Sell.
Hold.
Or bets. Buy, sell, hold, or bet here on the 1620 Zone Radio Network. Matt McMaster, joined by Josh Odson. Like my coat.
Speaking of buy, someone bought that jacket.
Yeah, look at the back of this jacket. My Lightning McQueen jacket.
Oh, that's
Go on the Zone TV YouTube page. Go look at me wearing my Rusty's medicated bumper ointment jacket. Don't forget, with a little Rusty's, you too can look like me. Ka-chow. Don't forget, Josh Hodson. All right? I should get that tattooed somewhere on my body.
yes.
With a little, just right on the neck, with a little Rusty's. You too can look like me.
Whoa.
95, and then a little lightning bolt coming across, looking like Cody Rhodes, but the Lightning McQueen version of it. Sith goes, we might be honing in on your dating problem, Matt. If she doesn't like McQueen, then get out of here. All right?
I think he's going to find a lot of people his age who are fine with this.
I'm just trying to find my Sally, man. I'm just trying to find my Sally.
That's what you tell her.
In a world full of Betsies, I'm just trying to find my Sally.
That's right. Like every fat goth person you know tries to be like Jack and Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas.
I don't relate to any of what you just said there, but I'll take your word for it. Sith goes.
Tell me when I'm telling lies. Okay.
Sith
It's
goes.
a harsh truth.
Sith goes. Aren't we all, Matt? LMAO.
That's right.
Well, you're no longer. You have a great wife. Some people are journey. Sometimes life no longer becomes the highway, and you get to slow down a little bit and reset a radiator springs.
You just got to find your radiator springs.
Yes, you just got to find your home. You got to find your home. Got to find your dock. Got to find the person that's going to fix you up. That was a close one. One letter away from going dump.
Almost had a real slipped disc scenario there.
Oh, nice. Almost needed a new carburetor there. Anyway, Travis Goes Cars is a solid Pixar movie, but good Lord, Matt, a man likes what he likes. I also love betting. Gambling and McQueen, gambling in cars, not like actual cars to where it's like I'm a mechanic and it'll help me. Just the movie cars are things that I'm into. We will do buy, sell, hold, or bet today on two teams. Both of them very interesting in their own right. Oregon, be hard pressed to find more coaches that have pressure on them than Dan Lanning this year. I mean, I think Sark is an obvious one. I think Lincoln Riley's got a ton of pressure on him. But, we're getting to the point where, we talked about the NIL around the NIL standard article, right? The top 25 teams who are spending in college football. And we talked about how Nebraska's ranked 29th. Well, the number one team on that list, according to NIL standard, is Oregon. And they're not just barely the number one team in terms of spending. They are $4 million higher than the next team in Ohio State. And they are $8 million higher than USC and $10 million higher than Indiana. We're getting to the point where I feel like Dan Lanning is like 1 year away from being Ryan Day, where if they don't at least make it to the national championship game this year, then when, like when are you going to do it? And it kind of became that way with Day, where you go, yeah, you win a lot of games, but man, you're Ohio State. You're getting the best recruiting classes. You have, we use the terminology born on third base, right? He had the massive advantage of being that historical football program that didn't need to necessarily grind as much as other programs could get top talent, right? Talent kind of found you at OSU. You didn't have to necessarily go and find talent from there. At least that's when Ryan Day took over. And Lanning is, I think, a year away. If they don't make a national championship, they're a year away from being at that point. Now, last year was obviously a very successful season. They lost 2 games. They were both to the national champion in Indiana. To go, 14-2, and your only 2 losses are to the team that went 16-0 is not bad in the slightest. Now, granted, that final Indiana game definitely left us with a sour taste in our mouth in terms of how we view this Oregon team. But this team is young, was young last year. They were the only offense to rank top 5 in Brett Ciancia's adjusted metrics of passing, number 4 in passing, number 4 in rushing, and number 5 overall. They bring back, they had some injuries, but they bring back Evan Stewart. They have Gary Bryant and DeCorian Moore back. Like, they have these super talented guys on the outside. Yeah, they lose Kenyon Sadiq to the draft. He gets picked number 16 overall to the Jets, but they got Jamari Johnson, who probably is the next best Big Ten tight end in the league. And, you know, they had all 5 offensive linemen last year earned Big Ten honors. They had multiple defensive linemen win Big Ten honors. They're top 5 in all of the Big Ten position rankings in the league. They have done an incredible job recruiting 3 straight top 5 recruiting classes and 2 top 5 transfer portal hauls over the last 3 years. They're the only team in the country to do that. They have a loaded secondary that has a ton of talent, multiple 5-stars, multiple top 50 guys, multiple top 100 guys. But like they did getting Dylan Tiedemann last year, who also got drafted in the first round, they go ahead and they get Corey Parrish from Minnesota to be their safety. So this team is chock full of talent. Dante Moore could have been the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft last year. That could have happened. That could have been a possibility. They didn't get to that point because Moore pretty early on in the draft discussions opted out of the NFL draft.
I want to mentor Dylan Raiola.
That's not what he said. As much as he's like, wow, I'm going to make a lot of money, you know, to be the quarterback for Oregon again, to go ahead and, you know, once again prove how good of a quarterback I am. I'm going to have all of these elite weapons around me. I'm going to have, you know, investments on the offensive line, investments in running backs from tight ends to wide receivers. And frankly, like, we're getting to the point for some of these like top quarterbacks like Dante Moore where the NFL is always going to be there for him, you know? Like the NFL will always be there unless he gets hurt, which is the risk that you run. That risk used to be way more when you weren't getting paid to play quarterback in college. Now he's gotten a boatload of money this season to play. So he comes back, and this is a team that has just continued to stack recruiting in high school classes together, top transfer portal classes together, and now they have continuity. You know, they have a lot of guys coming back. They doubled down on the offensive line and got a 4-star tackle in Fox Crater. They got Zaire Addison. You know, they also too, like, we always talk about like depth. Kirby Smart's talked about depth. You can't stack guys like you used to anymore. Well, Oregon is like the closest version to that in terms of just having rooms that even if you do suffer injury, which you're always going to, it's football, you're going to have guys who we're going to be starting next year and vying to be NFL picks the year after that anyway. So it's like you're still resetting. This is a great team. Their non-conference schedule, I give them credit for not scheduling nobody 3 times in a row, but it's not overly difficult. Boise State, Oklahoma State, and Portland State. They play those 3 games in a row. They then go on the road to USC. That'll be a very big game for Lincoln Riley, a massive litmus test for the Trojans. Obviously, that game being on the road will be challenging to be in that environment for Oregon. They get a bye week after that. They then follow up by playing UCLA, Nebraska, Illinois, Northwestern. Those 4 games should all be easy wins for them. Then their biggest challenge will be on November 7th when they go on the road to play Ohio State at Columbus. That game will be massive. Talk about 2 just incredibly talented teams. They've both done it, you know, kind of the different way where Oregon on the defensive end has a lot of guys returning on defense as long, you know, and guys who have had some continuity. Ohio State has gone on, just got a great portal haul for a lot of their defensive guys, but they're coached by what might be the best DC in college football, Matt Patricia. That'll be drag them out. Awesome game.
Real quick on that, Buckeye fans, prepare yourselves mentally. That game will likely be at noon. Big noon kickoff.
Yeah.
I know you hate
tough.
that time slot. Fox is really sticking it to you by making you play in that premier spot. That'll probably be big noon kickoff.
Followed up by the November 7 matchup at Ohio State. You have Michigan, then at Michigan State, and at Washington. I put 10 auto wins here, and I put 2 toss-ups potentially.
That's the line.
I think
10.5.
I think I'm being generous calling USC a toss-up. It's just on the road. It's early in the year. I like USC. Feel like they have less questions they need to answer than most people realize for. Also, I think that anybody could duel Oregon. It could be Jaden Maeva and the weapons that they have over there. USC definitely is forming into more of a Big Ten team as the years have gone by, and I think that, you know, they needed that to happen. I would pick Oregon to win that game. Look, I'm not in the business of betting on a team to win 11 games.
It's a lot of games.
It's a lot of games to win. It's a gargantuan amount, even in this day and age of college football, where teams are more talented, like top guys, right, or guys who used to be, kind of stacked on the depth chart in the SEC now get to go other places, right, and get to be starters right away, develop more quickly. Like we've talked about, more parity. There's less depth, but the top line guys are kind of a little bit more spread out now. I think Oregon wins it. I'm buying them.
Plus 110 on the over.
They're going to be in the national championship this year, I think. I really like Notre Dame and I really like Oregon. Those are kind of my two teams. Especially
I found out this week, I was like, hey guys, I think I might be onto something that nobody else is going to say. And then everybody else was saying it too. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
A lot of us very high on Notre Dame.
If Texas ends up, we'll see what the Trevor Gooseby injury looks like. That could be really big for them. I mean, Texas is going to be really, really good, guys. But Cam Coleman did go down with an injury. I don't know if I didn't see an update on Cam Coleman's injury for Texas. Because that's the guy that everybody's talking about in terms of can you look that up for me? My computer's being weird.
Doing it right now.
Regardless, though, Oregon and Notre Dame are pretty firmly my two teams when it comes to making the national championship, playing for it. All right, let's talk about Brett Ciancia, great friend of the show. He'll join us 12 o'clock on Fridays here during the college football season. He released his best over and under bets this year. By the way, shout out to us. We had one of the over-under bets on our board. He bet under on Kansas. You and I both agree that Kansas going to be very bad this year, and I just did not see 5 wins on that schedule. Brett did not as well. One of Brett's picks is TCU over 6.5 this season. Remember the name here, Jaden Craig, 6'3", 230 pounds, played at Harvard for the last 3 seasons. Big man, really athletic. His touchdown to interception ratio, 52-12 over his 3 years at Harvard, 52-12. So this guy takes care of the ball. He's the opposite of, what Josh Hoover was for this team last year, where he would throw a ton of interceptions. In their 4 losses they had last season against Iowa State, Kansas State, Arizona State, and BYU, Hoover threw 8 interceptions in those 4 games. It was a reason as to why they lost a lot of them. But Craig is yes, he's coming from SES, but he was still the 22 ranked transfer quarterback in the title, which it's, not common to see, guys like that who are in the FCS get that high on those rankings. But they have a new offensive coordinator, Gordon Samus. He's really big into the offensive line. That's what killed him last year. Their run push metric, their pass protection metric was really down. They fixed that up. They're super deep on the defensive line. They bring a lot of their breakout guys back. There's some questions definitely in terms of the back 7, losing linebackers, losing some cornerbacks. But they've really, really recruited well in high school. TCU is tied with Texas Tech for the number 1 5-year recruiting average. And Sonny Dykes' plan has been recruiting and retaining rather than entering the transfer portal. They have really doubled down on acquiring talent through the high school recruiting rankings. And they've done a good job of, keeping those guys around. And, they haven't really delved too deeply into the transfer, classes. They were only 53rd in 25 and 47th in 26, but they've been able to stack. They had the number 20 class in 2023. They had the number 24 class in 2025. They had the they're 28th overall in high school recruiting rankings over the last 5 years. In all of college football. They've been able to keep those guys. We look at their schedule. They obviously start this week, UNC in Ireland. They get a bye week. They then play Grambling, Arkansas State, and UCF, followed up by BYU. They take a bye. Then they're at Baylor, home for West Virginia and Kansas, at Arizona November 6th. Then they play Kansas State on November 14th, followed up by a home game against Utah, and then an away game against Texas Tech. They are, according to Brett Ciancia, the 4th-ranked team in the Big 12 behind Utah, Texas Tech, and BYU. Unfortunately for them, they have to play all 3 of those teams, but their over-under currently sits at 6.5. I really like this bet for them to be over 6.5. I think they beat UNC. I think they beat Grambling. I think they beat Arkansas State. I think they start the season 4-0. I think they're going to challenge BYU. That's a home game. They come off a bye. Baylor, West Virginia, Kansas. Right away, I think they could start the year 7-1. This is just we talk about transfer portal class. What was the immediate talent you brought in? What were the all-conference guys you brought in? All that type of stuff. There still is value in having high school players and keeping high school players around and having them develop in your system. You just run a risk when it comes to, do I want to invest all this money and all this time into these guys for them to hit the transfer portal? But if you're able to create a culture in terms of not allowing these guys to leave, right? You're going to have a packed wide receiver room like they have. You're going to have a defensive line that is super talented. You're going to have dudes that, they didn't start last year, but they know your system. They played in your system. They know what Sonny Dykes wants. Like, it's just one of those things where if you invest in high school recruiting, you run the risk of these guys leaving and you not enjoying the fruits of your labor. But if you do invest in it and you do retain these guys, then you can enjoy some very, prosperous seasons. And outside of Josh Hoover, their starting quarterback last year, they kept the guys that they were able to keep who didn't graduate and didn't go to the draft. They kept basically all those guys. So I love continuity. I like experience, and I like a quarterback, at least for this team, that doesn't turn over the ball. And Jaden Craig has the measurables and athletic ability to translate from FCS football into Big 12 football. I'm not going to stand up on a limb here and say that TCU is going to the college football playoff or they're going to be back, to the national championship or, to the Final Four rather anytime soon. But I am going to say that I think this team is going to be really good. They won 9 games last year. They bring a lot of guys back.
People forget I'm people.
And I think they're going to be really good. So I think Brett is spot on. I think that this team is someone to bet on. And we'll see. I mean, we're all kind of just like, a lot of people who are closer to that program than I am are telling me not to worry that Brendan Sorsby isn't going to be the quarterback for, Texas Tech, that they're still going to be the top team and they're still, going to win the conference college football playoff. But if there is a lack of production at the quarterback position, I think the Big 12, cracks kind of open a little bit. I'm not going to go as far as to say 8 different teams can win it, but I liked Big 12 football last year. It was very entertaining. I think this year for that conference could be entertaining as well. All right, entertaining guest we always have on Mondays at 1:20 is Robin Washut. We'll talk all things football and basketball with him coming up next here on Middays with Matt. We bring in Robin Washut from Husker Online and On3, who has been in and around all of college sports when it comes to college football and the Huskers fall camp, along with trying to weave through the mess that is the 2022 eligible players being or in 2022 athletes who use their 4 years of eligibility now being granted another year of eligibility. We bring on Robin Washut from Husker Online and On3. Robin, would you rather be Nebraska, who doesn't break all these rules and does things by the book, or would you rather be LSU, who now both in college basketball and college football have completely tried to change the way we do things?
Nebraska, easy answer. I'm not a fan of people just like crossing lines just because they technically can cross them and like making authorities stop them and tell them that what they're doing is wrong when everyone associated knows what they're doing is wrong, but they still do it just because they technically can at the moment. I have a real problem with that, and I only wish the worst for LSU athletics at this point.
Great take from Robin Washut. We put our support behind it as well. Matt Rule talked on the podium on Saturday and said that, Gunnar Gatula, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he was talking about that competition with Trey Babalade and Gatula for the right tackle spot and said, look, Gunner's one of our 5 best guys, just plain and simple, and alluded to him. He's going to be on the field regardless of what that might look like. I mean, do you take that as he's going to be the right tackle, or do you think there's a world where maybe he fits in at one of the guard spots, or maybe he plays left tackle, you put Pritchett right? Like, what do you kind of read into their high praise of Gunnar Gatula?
Yeah, that was one of the most notable things out of what Rule said on Saturday. And I guess when they constantly say that, they're not pigeonholing guys in positions, they're going to play their best 5, and then you say one guy is included in that top 5, odds are he's going to be a starter somewhere.
Yeah.
And right tackle would seem to make sense because when we last talked to Gunnar Gatula, he said he'd been working almost exclusively at right tackle. So I would probably put 2 and 2 together at that point, that if they were to play a game today or tomorrow, Gunnar might be the front runner there. And I think a lot of it too is, the injury situation with Tree and the fact that he's missed some time. Credit Gunnar for, being able to take advantage of that increased opportunity, and then really just going back over the course of the whole offseason to be able to put himself in this conversation to begin with, because he was coming off a real frustrating year last year with injuries, and had to kind of work his way back into the fold, especially after Nebraska went out and got multiple potential transfers out of the portal, including one that was brought in specifically to take his starting job. So I feel like this is a credit to the work Gunner's put in, and also him being able to capitalize on the opportunity that's been afforded him this fall.
How notable do you think it was him calling the edge room deep and then bringing up Mac Markaway and Jordan Ochoa? I mean, what does his confidence in that depth, in that room, do you think it's genuine, or do you think it might be closer to him calling them the D-line hell on wheels from the year before, trying to exact some confidence in them?
Yeah, we'll see. Take everything at kind of surface value at this point, and this is kind of what off season is. None of it means anything until they actually play a game. But I guess on the surface, it's good that he's at least publicly expressing confidence in that group, especially with some guys that I think had kind of been written off a little bit. I really didn't know what to think of the Markway move to defense and what that picture would ever even look like. And the fact that he's getting brought up as a potential, back end of the rotation guy is notable. Ochoa apparently put on 30 pounds of muscle since last year, and, is really starting to, develop into his frame and working his way into that same conversation. That's what you need. You need bodies, because as we've seen, if you don't have depth along the defensive line, you're going to wear down very quickly. So those are guys that seem to be in that mix to help fill out that depth. And as the season goes along, there's if they remain in that spot, pretty good chance that they're going to see the field in some relatively meaningful capacity. So an intriguing little tidbit by Rule there, where we heard earlier last week that they want to play ideally 6 guys at the edge positions, and if those guys are 5 and 6 in that conversation, then that's a pretty good reward for the work they've put in. When a lot of people like me kind of have forgotten about them.
Yeah, Troy Dannen made some comments and talked about his ability to generate revenue from Nebraska fans and for the Nebraska Athletic Department is a delicate balance. And, I think he was referring to not drying up the well of goodwill, but also understanding that, hey, we need more money and more revenue to compete at this level of football. Do you think that Dannen, saying, hey, we are not flirting at all with the top spenders of the Big Ten, along with the fact that everyone knows that winning is the best way to convince people to give you more money. Do you think all of those factors add any more pressure onto Matt Rule this season and his team?
Yeah, I think it's included in a long list of pressures happening right now where like the time is now. Nebraska's going to start winning. And it's not just like this incremental, all right, we got to another bowl game for the 3rd straight year. Everybody's happy about it. You got to start making some real progress here. And I know that they have kind of hung their hat on this long-term build method, but we're in year 4 now. It's time to, really, I think, start to get some return on this investment that's being made. And it is a chicken and the egg type conversation where do you need top end money to compete, or do you need to compete in order to get top end money?
Sure.
There's a lot of different ways to go about it, and teams have shown that you can be successful going both routes. But I think for Nebraska, it feels like for them to reach the level of donor support that they feel is necessary for them to compete for Big Ten championships and national championships, they got to start giving fans a reason to further buy in, and giving those donors more incentive to want to continue to spend their money on taking Nebraska to the next level. And so it's a hard conversation because you can make a case for both ways. Well, how is Nebraska supposed to compete when they're not getting the same level of money as teams within their own conference? But at the same time, it's well, at what point do fans say enough's enough? We're tired of trying to buy hope and potential. We need some actual tangible success here to give us reason to keep cutting all these big time checks. So it's I think what it comes down to is winning solves everything, and this is an important year, and that's why the pressure is on Matt Rule that they certainly can't take a step back. If they fall below what they've done the last couple of years, that's going to put them in an extremely difficult spot as far as ever really reaching the point, both competitively and financially, what they want to get to. But at the same time, they have to, I think, give some reason with the way that they either maintain their success or take it to the next level. Where going 7-5 is all right, is that going to be good enough if you start 5-0 and finish 2-5? I don't know, especially if there's a bunch of blowout losses over the back half of the schedule. There's going to be a lot of debate on what defines actual success. Is it just a win total, or are there optics involved? I kind of lean more toward the optics side of it, where not all 7 wins or 8 wins even are created equal. So there's a lot of pressure here for Matt Rule, not only to reach certain benchmarks from a record standpoint, but they've got to make sure that this is an enjoyable product that is able to reinvigorate some optimism, excitement, especially after going out of their way to quell all that optimism and excitement by making this the most locked up offseason I can ever remember.
You added in there a qualifier, right? Not all 7 and 8 win years are made the same. And you said enjoyable. I'm thinking right now, Robin, when was the last time that Nebraska football, in your opinion, had a season where we all went, man, this rocked. That was great. That was awesome. I want to go back to then. I want to relive that year. When was the last season that happened?
2009.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a while. I mean, you can make a case that there's some other years where, there was some good times, but I mean, that was the last time I remember all right, Nebraska's really starting to go somewhere. And then what they did in that bowl game against Arizona and just how good they looked and dominant, all right, yeah, I could do that again. I don't know if there's been anything close to that since. I mean, obviously there's been, a couple of conference championship appearances since that point, but it's been few and far between. So wherever you want to pick, it's been a long time, and it's been a decade plus since I think you've had that feeling.
When he said, talking about captains and talking about popularity contests and making sure people's feelings didn't get hurt, I mean, do you think that's a reference to something from last year?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. So the captains last year were Dylan, Key.
I looked it up earlier.
Yeah, Sean had it in his column today. Anyway, but so I look at those guys, and it looked like the production didn't match the title of captain. So I don't know. I don't care too much about that. Especially when Nebraska doesn't seem to care too much about it.
Sure.
Well, we might do it before the season. We might do it at the end of the season. We might not do it at all. It's all right. Well, what does even being a captain mean if there's really no defined title to it or role to it that anybody knows what the role of a captain even is. So I mean, I think that you can have that type of leadership without putting a C on a guy's chest or whatever. And maybe it's just a broader reflection of the egos involved in just college sports in general, where a lot of times it's not worth upsetting certain people if they're not the captain or whatever the perception that comes along with it. I don't know. I'm not all that interested in the captain discussion.
Sure.
Just because it's just become such a different thing. For so long, it was all right, before the season, your captains are going to get announced. It's a big deal. They take the picture together on the field and all that stuff. Now, we don't even know if they'll have captains this year. And so it's, I don't know. I think the idea of it has changed quite a bit over the last few years. Yeah.
Well, without a doubt. And I think it might be even closer a little bit to a pro sport, model where I never really cared who the captain was for the Bears. I never, that never crossed my mind. That was never a big deal. And I know here for college football, it means a little bit more because you had, you can maybe even say past tense, a more personal connection with the players. Maybe kind of the money aspect has lessened that a little bit. And so maybe the captains aren't as important as they used to be. I think it's an interesting conversation to potentially have. I got to ask you real quick, last question before I let you go here. Robin Washut of Husker Online and On 3. Were you there for the Jashir Whittington press conference?
I was.
How was that? Because through watching it on YouTube, through the phone, the guy just exuded confidence. And I was really impressed with his performance at the podium. What were your takeaways from some of his words?
Yeah, I mean, you can see why he's been one of those impact leaders. And so captain or not, Jashir Whittington is going to be one of the biggest voices on that defense and maybe in the locker room as a whole. So I put more value in that sort of stuff rather than who arbitrarily is picked or voted on as a captain, because you need more than 5 or 6 guys or 4 guys. You need to have a long list of true leaders, and I think Whittington fits the bill of a true leader. Even though he just got here, you just see it, and even the small glimpses of practice that we've been able to watch. He's in there encouraging his younger teammates through drills and offering words of encouragement and coaching guys up off to the side. That's just kind of a inherent deal where either have that type of personality or you don't. Jashir certainly has it.
Yeah.
And the way that he kind of had that presence about him at the podium, I think further backed up why he's already kind of established himself as one of the veteran leaders of that defensive line and maybe the defense as a whole. So it was cool to see him. You just wish you could just see more of it. But I probably put him right at the top of that list of if we're talking about captains and leaders, he's probably right up there with anyone right now.
Robin Washut of Husker Online and On 3 joining us here at Middays with Matt. Robin, thank you so much. Once again, we look forward to talking to you throughout the rest of the season.
Sounds good, guys. Talk to you later.
Talk to you soon, Robin. Middays with Matt. Wrap it up here on the 1620 The Zone Radio Network. What to watch along with Dog of the Day. will one of the people who will be mentioned in What to Watch, will they be a regular guest here on our show throughout the college football season? Little hint there at who might be coming on the show throughout the year and what we might be putting on What to Watch. All that and more here on Middays with Matt. Did you get a piece of breaking news or something like that? Or is it something
No,
else?
my
I'm
phone
sorry.
timed out. The screen
Oh, really?
turned off.
You have that nice little stand on the
Yeah.
back of your phone that I really like. I just put a sticker. Do you know what the sticker means, by the way? This little green.
That's 1:20, right? Cubs first pitch time on day games, right?
Yes, very good. Very good, Josh Hodson, which they don't do enough 1:20
Correct.
first pitch games anymore, which today is a baseball day.
Mhm.
I will be watching baseball today.
Great.
So I'm fired up for that. Our friend, I have a big game. I think this is a pretty good big game for the Chicago Cubs when it comes to the wild card race. Not necessarily that it's a race. I feel like we're pretty locked in at this point until the wheels fall off. Things are turning just a little bit, though, after 2-1 run losses to Seattle over the weekend, but then a big win on Sunday, 19-2.
And you really beat them down yesterday.
Yeah, we gotta look at that. You go 1-2, and then you end up winning the run differential by 15 over the weekend. Ain't that something? What are we watching tonight, Josh Hodson?
Pair of baseball games on FS1. Rays, Tigers at 5:40. Reds, Giants at 8:45. Connor Onion on the call for that one.
Yes,
out
Connor
west.
Onion, our guy.
That's our guy.
Every Monday, baby. Middays with Matt.
It's coming.
It
Get ready for it.
Coming. We're going to have Brett Cianci on the show on Friday. Been talking a lot about Brett today.
It is Elimination Day in Williamsport. 4 elimination games. One going on right now between Canada and Panama. No score in the 5th.
I don't like to call the Little League World Series. These two teams have been very impressive. I've caught a couple of defensive plays. This looks entertaining. Credit to them.
As one player has his shoe tied for him in the perfect encapsulation of Little League.
I sound like Matt Rule. Credit to them. Credit to them. Credit to them. They were better. Credit
Ohio and Texas. After that, all of these games on ESPN today. Czechia versus Japan and Pennsylvania versus Alabama. 2 games on in the WNBA today. It's been 0 days since their commissioner let a literal clown run amok with the W because they thought Joanna Mann was a documentary. Golden State and Minnesota, 7 o'clock on USA. Then it flips over to Peacock at 9 o'clock for Atlanta, LA. The AVCA first serve continues with a pair of Big East teams in action on the volleyball court. Xavier, number 4 Pitt, 5 o'clock on FS2. It is followed by number 2 Texas and Marquette. And I'm legally obligated to tell you that Tommy Boy is on Paramount tonight at 7:05.
I don't know if you're legally obligated. Kumar Rocker on the mound for the Texas Rangers tonight.
Oh, there's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
They are in the south side of Chicago as Jose Urquidy is on the mound. The 2 times I've seen that guy pitch, he stunk. So I'm going to bet against him. That's how I bet baseball. The last time I saw you play, you were terrible. I'm going to bet on you to be terrible again. So I'm going to take Texas Rangers plus 120 to go ahead and win tonight. Kenneth goes, if the 1620 midday show didn't tell me Tommy Boy was on, I would be very, very upset.
It's in the bylaws. It's in the fine print. You got to read that contract.
Well, clearly I haven't read it, but we will do some reading of that and more of our preview books as it's college football week, baby. First games on Thursday, and then we have our big Power 4 matchup between UNC and TCU on Saturday. Cannot wait for that. But more importantly, the crossover with USC is up next.